Raceway Park, playground of champions, home to the thunder of USAC Midget Sprint and Silver Crown. But tonight, it's Truck Thunder. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has run here twice before. Inaugural Series champ Mike Skinner ran away with both races. Now, Skinner has moved on to Winston Cup, but tonight, he's back in a truck.
There have been 350 laps run at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Craftsman Truck Series. Mike Skinner has led every single one of them, but he will not lead lap 351. The reason? He missed qualifying today because he had to qualify over the Brickyard. He got the number 6 spot, but it means he's going to start from the 34th position, and he's going to have a long way to go to make it 3 victories in a row.
Defending series champion Ron Hornaday on a tear of his own. 4 wins in the last 6 races, back in title contention. 5 wins for the year. 8 is the record.
Hornaday's turnaround can be credited to one man, Fred Graves. When he came on board as crew chief at Texas, this team was mired in 12th place in the points. They have put 3 wins in a row together at Milwaukee, Louisville, and Colorado, and he's now jumped from 12th to 4th, and he's qualified number 2, and he finished 4th here last year. He definitely will be a player tonight.
Momentum. It belongs to the oldest man ever to win a truck race. Joe Ruttman beat Jack Sprague in a controversial finish in the opener at Orlando, Florida. Then, last week, he was the beneficiary of Jay Sauter running out of gas. Joe took his 2nd victory of the season.
Joe Ruttman says the only lap you have to worry about is the last one. He proved it last week at Topeka, and he's going to have to prove it again tonight because Ruttman had a terrible time in qualifying. He's going to start from the 22nd position.
Week in Indianapolis, Indiana, where you look at the crowd that has jammed Indianapolis Raceway Park. They are here for the Cummins 200, round 16 of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for 1997. Hello, everyone. We welcome you to the show. I'm Dave Despain along with Benny Parsons. The focus, of course, the victory tonight, but also the championship. And, Benny, it's a whole new ball game. Rich Bickle had trouble last weekend, and, boy, throw him in a hat.
All you got to have trouble is one race, and the guys can catch up. Look at this. Jack Sprague is now 26 back. Joe Ruttman only 78 back. Hornaday, we've said he's up to 4th spot, only 140 points back, and Bliss, 221 back.
Well, let's elaborate a little bit on Rich Bickle. He's a huge story this weekend because he is so busy. Here is his truck, but that's just part of the story.
He qualified today a car, the NASCAR Winston Cup car for the Brickyard 400, qualified 10th. Came over here tonight and qualified 5th. Looks like busy agreeing with Rich Bickle.
Well, he's not the busiest guy here at Indianapolis Raceway Park with 3 preliminary races to the Brickyard 400. That honor goes to Kenny Irwin Jr., who's going to try to make all 3. And then there's that press conference I keep hearing about.
I mean, supposedly there's going to be a press conference in the morning to announce that Kenny Irwin will drive the number 28 car
in Winston Cup next year, but last night in a Silver Crown car from dead last to win the DuPont 100. I would think that answers the question of Kenny Irwin being able to maintain his focus. What a celebration, a USAC record for victory from deepest in the field. And it's always nice to see old gentleman Jimmy start at the head of the field, but tonight it's kind of special.
Jimmy Hensley is on the pole position for tonight's race, driving, never see Jimmy Hensley, driving the Cummins Dodge, and the race is sponsored by Cummins, presented by the Indiana Dodge dealers.
Reckon he felt a little extra pressure today?
I would think so, just a tick.
Well, he rose to the occasion in front of all these fans. He's going to start on the pole with Hornaday on his flank. It should be a terrific 200 laps of action on the 0.6 of a mile oval that we call Indianapolis Raceway Park. We'll take a break and be right back. The Cummins 200 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, brought to you by Daytona, USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. By Shell, moving at the speed of life. And by Quaker State, the quality your car deserves. Let's go down trackside to Marty Reed.
Drivers, start your engines.
fireworks in the background and the crowd on their feet. A field of 34 trucks come to life. Bob Lutz of the Chrysler Corporation, the Grand Marshal here this evening. That was not Marty Reed giving the command to start the engines. Why would they let him do that? He'd wear himself out before he even gets started here. Benny, we've got an exciting field of drivers, the variety that we have come to expect in this field of NASCAR Craftsman division entries, and based on the fact that Skinner has won both races and all the laps, we're guaranteed some new stuff happening here this evening. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup. Jimmy Hensley, as we said, starting on the pole, shattered the track record, the defending series champ Hornaday in this charge, now starting from the outside of row 1. We go to the inside of the second row and find Tony Roper, the second-generation racer and rookie driver, alongside second-ranked Jack Sprague, a Ford and a Chevy, respectively. Row 3 has Rich Bickle, the series point leader, and Mike Wallace, and one of the two, Kenny Schrader-owned Chevrolets in the field. Randy Tolsma had a great qualifying effort as he'll start inside row 4 alongside his old USAC rival, Mike Bliss, 5th ranked in the standings. And from the Racing Green family of Owensboro, Kentucky, Mark Green, the middle brother, lines up in 9th spot with Dave Rezendes, the veteran from New England, alongside.
Back in row 6, we find Mike McLaughlin in a Kenny Schrader truck alongside Rick Crawford's Ford. In row 7, Tony Raines, the winner this year at I-70 Speedway in the Dodge, and Jay Sauter driving the 3 truck that's Skinner made so famous. Row 8, Chuck Bound and Tammy Jo Kirk, the only female in the race. In row 9, Boy Sid and Kenny Irwin. Let's go to row 10, where we'll find Kevin Harvick and Terry Cook.
We go to row 11, and Kevin Zawinski, the ASA champion, starts there in the Dodge alongside Joe Ruttman, last week's winner in Kansas on the road course. Rick Corelli lines his Chevrolet up on the inside of row 12 alongside the Dodge of veteran Bob Keselowski. They both run every truck race ever held. Robert Huffman is on the inside of row 13 in the Ford alongside Skinner, but Skinner will go to the back because he did not qualify that truck. Nathan Butke handled that tour for him. Rob Rizzo, the road racer in the Ford, starts 27th alongside Brian Refner, another former ASA champ in the field. Stacy Compton, one of the rookie contenders, is in 29th spot alongside Butch Miller, who slapped the wall in qualifying and barely made it in on speed.
The provisionals tonight will be Brian Cunningham and Bill Sedgwick in row 16. In row 17 is Andy Houston, that's Tommy's boy, and Andy Ginsman.
Bob Lutz has fired up the pace truck and has the field in tow now as they prepare for the start. The track description here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, Benny, it's just an odd number, but a little over 6/10 of a mile.
Yes, 0.686 miles, front stretch, back stretch, same, 699 feet. But look at the degree of banking. Turn 1, 6 degrees. 3 and 4 is bank 7 degrees. Now turn 2, that's bank 8 degrees. Front stretch 3 and the back stretch 2 degrees.
Field beginning to form up in anticipation of the 200 laps. Jimmy Hensley and many more breaking the track record here, 109 and change the qualifying speed. 200 laps at 137 miles. Given the arithmetic, they'll take that halfway break that is traditional at 101 laps. Bob Keselowski will carry a camera this evening, one of 7 that we have in the field. As you look out the front there, the field forming up. Here's the view from Zawinski's truck as he comes to this series for only his 2nd start of the year.
And there we see Kenny Irwin. We're on board with him, the Rebestos truck.
Anything like last night, he'll be passing people all night. You'll see cars, trucks going the other way. Boris said the road racers are not getting this oval thing figured out.
Doing a very good job. We see Ron Hornaday, the camera on board, as he looks over at the pole sitter, Jimmy Hensley.
That's from the outside pole. A good qualifying effort here for Hornaday. And for Jimmy Hensley, he sees clear sailing ahead. Now, Skinner had this view the last 2 years. Now Skinner's in the back, and I'm up front, and I'm going to make the best of it as they come rumbling off turn 4. The crowd on their feet in anticipation of the start. Chris Morgan has the green in hand, and we're underway.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen Ron Hornaday jumped on a start.
And it looked like he might have bumped a little bit trying to get into position. Couldn't quite get there. And so Hensley will have the lead off turn 2. Roper couldn't do anything with Sprague.
Riding along with Ron. Oh, we've got a car in the wall. Looks like Rick Crawford's in the wall. That's the blue car.
So Crawford Crawford, who's in the middle of the battle for Cintas Rookie of the Year, and now we've got the 53 truck also with trouble.
And Tony Roper, the 31 car, has a problem. Caution is out.
Caution flies, and it seemed to be unrelated incidents, but we've got 3 trucks involved. There you can see Roper with sheet metal flapping off the back of the number 31. Wow. And a terrific qualifying effort, and got to be a lot of frustration associated with that.
Well, we can see where Roper has hit the wall, has flattened the right side of that truck.
This happened down in turn 1 and 2 after Crawford left one of those marks up there on the exit of turn 4.
We'll watch Rick Crawford, the blue truck. There he is, very high, boom, in the wall, flat spots. Now, Tony Roper is going to be about the 5th truck in line as they go down in the corner. All the other trucks making evasive moves, trying to miss the 14th truck. They do that.
This will be the speed shot angle of Crawford. Same incident. Looks like he just got up out of the groove into the loose stuff and whacked the wall and flattened that truck. He's had the top 10 runs in 4 of the last 6 races, so that's very frustrating. Meanwhile, Roper now is headed for the attention of the Breback crew.
Oh, what a tough break. Qualified 3rd did Tony Roper.
A terrific qualifying effort, but it's all for naught. He'll be at the back. Hensley got the drop on the start, and then a bunch of people got in trouble behind him. We'll take a commercial break and be back with a restart. Balls for the restart on lap 4. Jimmy Hensley with Hornaday on the inside. Hornaday said, "You got me once, you may not get me twice." And they're going to be side by side as they come off turn 2 and down the backstretch.
That outside groove is the preferred line here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and Hensley makes it work for maintaining the lead.
Hornaday got a much better start that time than he did the first time. We've already broken 2 records here. The track record in qualifying and Mike Skinner's run of 350 consecutive laps led every previous lap of truck competition here. Betty, we just got run over.
Man.
Love that shot.
There we see Jack Sprague, the green truck, number 24, in 3rd. There's Rich Bickle getting passed on the outside.
Hey, what, Bickle had no response there as Shuffle in the top 5 spots. Sprague hangs on to the 3rd position.
That was Mike Wallace.
Wallace, yeah, who picked up 4th. Wallace has jumped into Kenny Schrader's truck along with Mike McLaughlin for the safety. So it's Mike and the Schrader entries.
This is Mike Bliss as he rides along in the 6th spot.
There you see a position battle as Forrest Bennett, the 44, tries to hold off Tony Raines in the 970, and he's got Kenny Irwin all over him in the Rebestas 98.
That's a battle for 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Qualified particularly well tonight, but he qualified a whole lot better tonight than he did last night. He qualified not at all. Here's the move on the inside by Raines. A little bit of a nudge to let Forrest know he's there. Irwin could not qualify because of a mechanical problem, but as you saw at the top of the show, came through the Silver Crown field to win it. It was dramatic.
There'll be a lot of that tonight. Just a little bump in the rear to tell that other truck that you're there, you're faster, and that you want by. There we see the Mike McLaughlin going by Boris Sid.
McLaughlin moving closer to the top 10. He had slowed, and we thought for a moment that he might have been involved in that Roper incident earlier, but apparently the truck is healthy, and he has now cracked the top 10. Magic shoes. Mike McLaughlin also busy national race.
Looks like right now that the 24 truck of Jack Sprague might be a little quicker than Ron Hornaday. We're riding on board the Napa Fielders Chevrolet truck of Ron Hornaday.
One of the things we always talk about, Benny, when we come here for the open wheel competition is the trickiness, the difficulty of making a pass on this racetrack.
The groove is on the bottom of the racetrack. When you try to dive to the inside, you just lose the grip. As Chuck Bound, the 99 truck, tries to get by Boris Sid. That's Boris is 44. Looks like a lot of guys have been knocking on the left rear of Boris's truck. And banged up. Oh, we see some smoke. I see where that damage is from. The 99 truck, the right front fender is rubbing the tire and smoking pretty heavily.
Well, that is the potential problem for Bound. That tire won't last long. He's working on set. Boris be going backwards. He's back to 15th starting spot. A couple of trucks have passed him, and Bound wants by in the worst way.
And that's Kevin Harvick in the 75, I think, right behind them. No, I'm sorry, it's Rick Corelli. And look at the smoke off that right front tire of Chuck Bound.
Corelli wisely getting down on the inside.
It just smokes on the
positions being contested right there. Ahead of them, you get a glimpse of Joe Ruttman, who did not qualify well. He's currently in 14th spot.
And Sprague right on the inside, laying on that left rear of Hornaday, and did not quite make the pass.
Looks like he might have position. Hensley's taking advantage of this in the Dodge to sprint away to a 15-20 truck lead. Sprague says, I don't want to get up there and race with him on today, so catch up or get out of the way. Bickle, meanwhile, down on the bottom, having another look at Wallace, trying to retaliate, get back what he had earlier, but there's nothing there. Single file down the straightaway. Season for Ron with a crash and injury at Orlando. Boy, once Fred Graves came to the team, as Marty said at the top, they have caught fire.
And Ron Hornaday will tell you that the part that Fred Graves has been the difference in this 16 truck. It's really turned it around. Fred Graves, the father of Andy Graves, on Ricky Craven's Budweiser Chevrolet Winston Cup car.
Hornaday having moved within 140 points in the series championship as he attempts to defend. Talk about the point battle at the top of the show. I think one of the most interesting statistics is that last year at this point, 442 points separated the top five. It is now 221, exactly half. I think that makes it twice as competitive as it was a year ago. They do the arithmetic. Field summary, Napa with the rundown.
In the parentheses on the right is where this truck started this afternoon. We saw Jay Sauter started 14th is 9th. There we see Ruttman started 22nd. He's worked his way up. And Rick Crawford started 12th. That brush with the wall has worked his way back. And we've got a spin. Robert Huffman spins coming off turn 4. And the yellow is out. Huffman in the red 87.
Only the second start of the series. Was lucky there that nobody got into him. That's a pretty tough place to get her sideways. The exit off turn 4 is fairly narrow, but everybody was able to find room for evasive action. And so the number 87 Ted Phillips' own truck appears to have gotten away with minimal damage.
Let's see, it's white behind this. There we see he's already around. Trucks going by. Looks like it might have been Brian Redford that goes by the first truck by. It doesn't look like anyone made contact. Very, very fortunate.
Yeah, that was close. Very close. That was Cunningham. It looked like he got within a fraction of an inch of the wall, but didn't touch it. So the second caution flies of the scheduled 200 lapper here on lap 20. We'll take a commercial break and come back with more. It's the Cummins 200 on ESPN2. Indianapolis Raceway Park, where number 87 Robert Huffman out of Hickory, North Carolina, the Phillips Huffman Motorsports Ford, has brought out our second caution flag. On board with Kevin Serwinski. Pretty good view of it here.
Yeah, we see that's the red truck, Robert Huffman. And he gets a little nudge in the left rear, so that's why Robert Huffman goes round, round, and round.
Easy to understand how one might lose control under those circumstances. You're pretty well on the ragged edge of traction anyway. That little nudge in the right rear, and around you go. There's Chuck Bell. We saw the smoke off the right front. Marty?
Yeah, guys, they're thinking that they've got a tire that is rubbing, and it is still rubbing. You see, even at this slow speed, that it is still pouring out smoke from the back of that truck. I'll update you on a couple others. Remember Rick Crawford got in the wall early? The 14 truck, well, that was because he was on cold tires, and he just slid up with no help from anybody else. Same for Tony Roper. So we're getting ready to go green. Also, Tammy Jo Kirk, she's a lap down because she was involved in that. She lost the lap.
Hornaday trying to get on the outside.
He won't be looking for me up here. I'll go up and square this thing off and get a run at him, and they're side by side down the backstretch. How about that move?
Hornaday gives it a shot. Hensley fights back. Hornaday can't make it stick, and Hensley goes back in front.
Boy, that was terrific stuff. Hornaday with a strategy. Hensley jumped him the first time. Ron got a better shot at him on the inside of the second start. And now here on the second restart, or third start of the event, he went around the outside, got in front for a moment. And Hensley said, now this will pay off. We'll get to the other end of the racetrack. Hensley has led every lap. Skinner, of course, set that mark of 350 by leading flag to flag in both the previous events here. For what it's worth, he is up to 28th starting spot, having started dead last, 34th. So his progress thus far has been slow.
Before this last caution flag, Hornaday was a little bit quicker than Jimmy Hensley. So let's see in about 10 laps these tires get warm what Hornaday might be able to do.
Craig on one occasion was able to get up there and challenge Hornaday for that runner-up spot, but now seems content to follow him a couple of truck lengths back. No change in the top three. Mike Wallace has made a pass to get to fourth. He is now into 14th starting spot, and he's got a couple of opportunities right in front of him. Ruttman in the LCI number 84.
Kenny Irwin going by David Zindes in 35, and Joe Ruttman follows. This is on board the Precision Gear onboard camera. Kenny Irwin.
Irwin is 13th, and Joe says that felt like a lucky number to me. I'm going to try to take it away from him. Where he is. Ruttman, as you see, from 22nd to 14th. Just didn't have a good qualifying. No particular trouble. They ran well in practice.
Oh, we got a crash up in 3 and 4.
27 is Rizzo and
Cunningham in the 57. Ryan Cunningham in the 57 truck.
Rob Rizzo, the road racer out of North Providence, Rhode Island.
Nose of that Ford truck looks like it might not be too bad. That's pretty superficial, that blow to the nose.
Cunningham, the grandson of Briggs Cunningham, legendary pioneer of American sports car racing.
Let's see if we can tell what happened. That looks like Rizzo on the... Nope, it's behind that. There's Rizzo in the 27, and there's Cunningham in the 57. And we... I don't know how the damage to the nose happened on the 27. That must have happened earlier in the race.
Roper got just a little piece of Cunningham there at the tail end of it, but you'd be hard-pressed to find that damage because Roper had already flattened the right side of his truck. But there you see the back of Cunningham where Roper got into him a little bit. We'll take a break and be right back. Back to green here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Here come your leaders, and Hornaday that time said, I'm just going to sit here and let Hensley think about it.
About the coolest, most tame restart I've ever seen from Ron Hornaday. It looked like he thought that. Yes, we'll just take it easy.
Well, I think that may have been because we were commercial. He didn't want to do anything spectacular until we got back. Marty, quick update from trackside.
Well, yeah, we can tell you about Brian Cunningham. He had to come in and pull some of the sheet metal away. He's at the back of the lead lap. And the 27 car, he was able to go on. No major problems for Rob Rizzo. He just spun her around.
Top five, somewhat processional at this point. Bickle had a little bit of a notion to try to do something with Mike Wallace on that restart, but couldn't find it, so now he has dropped back into line. Series point leader. Get an interesting episode in qualifying. He took the green flag, went off to turn 2. The thing got way loose and slid up and almost hit the wall. He said, well, this will never do. Jammed on the brakes, shoved back all the way around turn 1 to get another run at it. Came back, took the white flag, and ran the fifth fastest lap of the day. Not too shabby.
Normally someone spins out and does that on the short tracks. I don't think I've ever heard of someone just missing the line, messing the lap up, and say, well, I think I'll go back and get another started.
May have gotten the idea from Butch Miller, who actually did whack the wall pretty hard, and well, was able to do basically the same thing. He turned around and drove back around, but came back and ran the 30th fastest time of night, and that was just fast enough to make the field. He had been in on provisional, but he didn't need it. He got into speed.
See Mike Skinner in the KFC truck. That's the red truck right on the inside. That's a battle for 24th with Butch Miller. You were just talking about a moment ago. That's the white number 20. Kevin Harvick in the blue and white 75.
Miller has managed to go forward by 5, but Skinner, better than that, has come from 34th. Currently sit in 24th spot. No, it's not a repeat of what we've seen in the past from him. but it's pretty impressive knocking off 10 trucks this early.
Truck is owned by the team truck for Rich Bickle. This is Darrell Walters' truck. And there he goes, trying to take off another spot, and he does. It goes by Harvick.
Harvick's a pretty interesting story in his own right. Young kid that works for Spears, the sponsor on that 75 truck. Remember Dan Press, a veteran, was driving that truck early in the year, but Harvick, who came out of the Southwest Tour, got the opportunity to drive it. They entered 2 trucks at Louisville. Harvick gave them the best finish the team had had all year, and they said, "We better give this boy a ride." Dan Press is looking for work, and Harvick now has the seat. Man, he's got his hands full right now.
A little bit of a body slam for Brian Refter in the 66 truck as he came off the corner. And that 65 is Andy Houston.
Harvick is going backward. Here comes Sedgwick, who used to drive that truck going by. The kid loves the big one. Here comes Rizzo after that spin. Having gone a lap down. Now 31st.
And one of those trucks is smoking. I said maybe it might be Huffman's truck.
Go for a ride with Mike Bliss here as he sits in 6th spot. He's 5th in the points, 6th on the racetrack, and he's following the point leader, Rich Bickle. Bickle in turn, behind Wallace.
Comes Bliss. He should know how to get around this racetrack. Done many midgets, sprints, Silver Crown cars around the Indianapolis Raceway Park.
He's pulled off some amazing passes here in the open wheel stuff, but the trucks pick up a lot more space, and passing requires an awful lot of strategy. You've got to get it set up, you've got to have the momentum, you've got to do it just right.
Well, I think I'll just lay back here and follow this guy a couple laps and see where he might be the weakest. And
hard to find a weakness in Bickle. It sure is. Pretty stout. Dropping down a full truck with lower corners.
He's trying to dime in the corner to get a run off the corner to get by the 52 truck of Mike Wallace. Oh, this time it's 3 abreast, and I know that's not going to work.
No, but Bliss had a notion. I think he thought Bickle was going to pull that off, and sure enough, Bickle drives by Wallace to take back the spot. Bliss says, "Thank you very much. I'll follow you right through that hole." And Mike Wallace loses 2 spots in the exchange. So move Bickle to 4th and Bliss to 5th as we revise the order and take a commercial break. Commercial break. Mike Wallace had lost 2 positions and dropped out of the top 5, and he wishes that was the worst of his problems, Ben.
Because he smacked the wall heavily down in turn 1. We see all the damage to the right side. Marty Reed, what's going on down there?
Well, we thought first, Benny, that it was just going to be superficial. They were having a tough time getting the sheet metal away from the right front tire. Now they're looking inside at the suspension because they're not too sure. He may have done some damage up in there. We'll keep you posted. He's already over a lap down.
He whacked the wall a ton, and you see the tail end of it.
Yeah, he's hit the wall awfully hard with the right side, and looks like he may even hit it again. No, I guess he's not, but there's pretty heavy damage. Timmy Cahoon took a look and said, "Boys, we better not put a tire back on this truck and send it back out there. Otherwise, we're going to have bigger problems." So they're trying to fix the truck so he can continue on. Meanwhile, as the truck's getting ready for the green flag, we've got a visitor in the booth, Steve Park, driving the AC Delco Chevrolet on the NASCAR Busch Series to stop by. Steve, how you doing?
Good, Benny. How you doing?
Where'd you qualify for tomorrow night's Busch race?
We qualified at disappointing 17th. We had a little trouble with the motor this morning, and never got a chance to make a second run, and when we did, it was a little too loose for qualifying.
All right, we're back at it. Park will offer his insights here. Right now, the issue is Hornaday, who continues to try to figure out a way on these restarts to get around Hensley. And once again, Jimmy says, "I got this under control." Bickle has a notion to try to do something with third place Jack Sprague. Restarts provide a great opportunity here, but bottom line, no change. Hornaday still second behind the pole sitter who has led every lap. And Bickle stalking the number 24 of Sprague as they work onto the front straightaway. I love that shot.
Uh-oh, Tammy Joe has had a problem. Caution flag is out.
Kirk got involved in that thing with Roper on the first lap and did some damage to the truck, but now she's come to a halt over there on the inside of turn 2. There's a look.
There we see she's on the outside trying to get back in line and turns in front of him. Man, that truck, Rob Rizzo truck, catches in the right rear and just turns her head on in the wall.
That's a pretty hard hit.
Sure was. Man, real hard hit.
The net is still up, but we see Tammy moving around in there. Now she's reaching up to pull it down, let them know that she is A-OK. Take a commercial break and come back, and a yellow flag Cummins 200. Qualifying trouble, but will be a contender tomorrow. I hope that we get this race finished by tomorrow, because look what's happened here. Kirk opened the back gate inadvertently, and the safety people are over there saying, how are we going to deal with this? Tammy has been removed from the truck after taking a pretty hard hit over there, Benny.
Yes, she sure did, and not only did she knock open the gate, we see where she's broken the wall. To the wall right that fell on the left. Here's what happened. She's on the inside of Rob Rizzo. She goes back up, like to get in line, and Rizzo clips the right rear, and boom, she hits the wall and just knocks the gate open. That's the gate where the race cars come from outside to inside there.
Looks like she probably hit, right? It's a double gate. It looks like she probably hit right square in the middle of it, and then the impact has broken the concrete where the gate actually mounts. So, as we feared, they will go to a red flag here, because this is going to require some additional repair work over there. That'll get us an opportunity to talk a bit more with Steve Park, who, do I not recall correctly, made your truck racing debut here last year? Am I right about this?
Yeah, we did. We had the opportunity to participate in a race last year, actually in a Dodge.
And didn't do too badly, as I remember?
Yeah, I think we qualified around 8th or 9th and finished 10th, so if consistency is worth anything, we were pretty consistent.
Was that Rory's truck?
No, actually, it was Walker Evans's truck when he was sponsored by the Dana Corporation, who in turn are here this weekend, a great bunch of people, and gave me a great opportunity last year.
And then, of course, we had the heroics up at Watkins Glen when Nemechek wasn't there to qualify, and so Park went out and won the pole on the road course. His focus is the Busch Grand National race. Our focus right now is the repair to the wall. Let's take another commercial break, and then we'll come back. In Indianapolis Raceway Park, we've had more than our share of yellow tonight, but now we have a red flag. Nonetheless, the fans are still enthusiastic. The trucks are stopped because of the damage to the backstretch wall. And we have a top 5 that basically has not changed, with the exception of Mike Wallace having difficulty first being passed to fall out of the top 5 and then clouding the wall in a previous incident.
And Tony Roper also had a problem, qualified in 3rd spot. The 31 truck had a problem.
Well, they're waving at us, and we're on the Jumbotron. I think we can wave back to them. Let's see. Can we make that work?
Yeah. Hey, guys. They are waving to us.
Yeah, they are waving to us. I'll tell you, it's a pretty good bunch of folks that they've got here. 30 to 35,000 was the estimate. That's about what they anticipate for tomorrow night for the Busch race. So Indianapolis Raceway Park definitely has a role in this whole Brickyard Festival.
And the city of Indiana, I mean, Indianapolis, are they hosting some racing this weekend? Wednesday night here, Thursday night here, Friday night here, and then Saturday, the Brickyard 400, 300,000 of our closest friends will show up out there to watch Jeff Gordon try to work his way up forward.
I was amazed at the size of the crowd today for qualifying. We've come to kind of expect that at Winston Cup races, because people are so hungry for Winston Cup competition. But I'll tell you what, I want you to take a look at the size of this mob of people. This is for qualifying. This is to watch cars go around one at a time. And one of the cars that went around most impressively, I thought, was this guy. Kenny Schrader had the pole for a little bit. Darrell Waltrip comes out, knocks him off the pole. This old guy can still do the icky shuffle, and listen to this crowd.
Wow. Wife Stevie comes up, gives Darrell a big hug.
That was really cool. He was on top of the pylon for a while. actually for about 5 minutes, because the defending race champion had in mind a lap of 177.5, actually .494 if you want the specifics. That didn't last long, because here comes his teammate, Ernie Irvin, ups the ante. It's an all Yates front row for a little while. Full speed now at 177.7, but here comes another former winner. This is Dale Earnhardt. Managed to outdo his teammate Mike Skinner, but barely. He ends up 5th overall. This guy's got a new nickname. This is Front Row Joe.
And he did it again today. Nemechek will start on the outside of front row 1 for the Brickyard 400. As Mom Martha watches on, Dale Jarrett congratulating his teammate Ernie Irvin on his pole.
The defending champion and the pole sitter will start nose to tail with the Yates Racing team in great shape for the Brickyard. Here's a look at how they ran today on ESPN2. That's pretty good for Earnhardt. He'll be tough.
He'll be tough, and Mike Skinner, his teammate, will start in 6th spot. And there's Rudd, Schrader, David Green, Rich Bickle qualified 10th. Mike Wallace qualified 49th. He will have to find some more speed tomorrow, and he'll be doing it with a sore neck.
Yeah, you bet. I'll tell you, Bickle was so pumped up when he came back over here for truck qualifying today, having run 10th in the Cup car in this KFC Twister promotion, where they have an entry in all 3 of the events going on this weekend. Let's hear from Marty, trackside.
Yeah, with the red flag, we got the famed number 43. This time, Jimmy Hensley at the helm, and now there's 2 guys that have led every lap here. Skinner, and now you, Jimmy. Good run going so far.
Well, Cummins Dodge running pretty good tonight. We just need some green flag racing. You know, Ron's eating me up on the restarts, and, you know, it's all I can do to hold him back there. You know, he's running good like that, but after we have a few laps, you know, we seem to ease out a little bit and get a little breathing room, so hopefully we can have some long greens.
Your crew was saying that the restarts are because they think he's got a little bit different gear ratio than you do.
Well, it's obvious he's got a better one than I do. You know, he's really getting a jump on me, but, you know, we try to hold him off and maybe get us a win here tonight.
All right, he's still predicting win. Let's go back to 2nd place. Where did Ron Hornaday go? Hey, Ron's out of the truck, and he's going over to talk to Jack Sprague. Let's talk about the restarts. He thinks you're giving him all he can handle on those, but you haven't been able to get around him yet.
It's a long race. We'll see what we can do. Jimmy's awful good right now. We're just a little bit tight, but I might have to make an adjustment out here. It looks like we're allowed to touch the truck and do what we got to do, so I'm just going to put some tape on the front. Richards can take his off. I'll put some on. We'd be good for the 43.
And you've already checked this with NASCAR officials. We're not going to have a penalty situation here?
I don't know. Rich can take it off, so I can put it on.
All right, guys. Well, we're now going to watch a driver go to work on his own truck, putting some tape on, and we're going to find out if that will be an infringement of the rules. And he's going right over to NASCAR officials right now.
Interesting, I think, that Hornaday is really focused on the guy behind him, Rich Bickle, and not so much on the guy in front of him, Jimmy Hensley.
Well, that's the guy that's the points leader.
Oh, yeah.
You see, these guys think about points all the time. That's the guy that's the points leader.
They have moved some heavy equipment to the backstretch to make repairs on the wall. Dennis Huth is kind of ramrodding that effort on behalf of NASCAR, and of course the IRP crew, track run under the auspices of the National Hot Rod Association, so they've got some experience in all kinds of motorsports. They know how to deal with this.
That's Dennis Huth back there just pointing his finger over to something with the coat on behind the 2 guys there, the crewmen. His vice president of NASCAR there, he moves back to let him do the work, and he's in bad trouble because today is his daughter Kelsey's 9th birthday, and he's not there.
Uh-oh.
He had to be here today, so Kelsey, he's sorry.
This broken wall is the least of his problems.
Exactly.
We're going to take a commercial break and come back with more. This order will not change during the break, I promise you. We're under a red flag in the Cummins 200.
Park, leave it to us to find a controversy during a red flag. Rich Bickle takes tape off. That infuriates Ron Hornaday. And I got to get your side of this now because he wants to put tape on his car.
Tape? I got a bunch of tape on there. I need to take off. This thing's running hot, but try to run down the straightaway in the bottom, get some air to this grill, but I'll tell you what, we're sneaking our way up there. Let these guys complain all they want. Let's go racing.
All right, he's running 4th right now. Right in front of him is Jack Sprague, and we are getting the word, guys, that we may be going back to green flag racing here pretty soon.
Well, that would be awfully good news, as a matter of fact. There we see Jack Sprague's truck. He's ready to go. He hasn't even taken off his helmet. Hey, welcome, everyone, and this is Steve Park, the driver of Dale Earnhardt's AC Delco NASCAR Busch Grand National car. Qualified 17th.
Yeah, very disappointing 17th. We were about 5th fastest in the last practice, and we had a little trouble this morning with an ignition box, and never really got a chance to make a sticker run. So when we did, the car was a little bit loose.
Yeah, this is cars and trucks.
We've been watching trucks all night, so it's hard to...
The next year, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series.
Well, we're not really sure right now. We have the opportunity to run 5 races this year with Burger King, which we're real proud of, and you know, our main focus is still with the AC Delco Chevrolet and just trying to creep our way up in the points. We're about 80 points out of 3rd, so we're looking at 3rd right now, and then hopefully 2nd, and maybe we can close in on the 74 car.
And the NASCAR Craftsman, the NASCAR Winston Cup car, you're going to try it at Watkins Glen, your next event?
Yeah, our next event, we've had a lot of success up at Watkins Glen, and I had a great opportunity with Joe Nemechek and his family to run their truck up there, and we were able to put it on the pole, and we also had the opportunity to run the Sunoco Modified and put that on the pole also. So Watkins Glen's been real good to see Park, and hopefully we can make our first Winston Cup debut there, and Nashville Speedway also, where we got our first win together as a Busch team.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah, it was.
You miss driving those open-wheel cars, the Modifieds?
Yeah, the Modifieds, we raced them for 8 years, and they're lightning fast, and I always tell people what the difference between a Modified and a Busch car is. Well, the Modified likes to accelerate, it likes to stop, and it likes to turn, and the Busch cars don't do it as well as an open-wheel car. But right now, we're happy to be involved in the Busch South Series and NASCAR, and with AC Delco as a sponsor, we're just having a ball this year.
When you go to the NASCAR Craftsman Busch Series, the NASCAR Busch Series, does everything act like it's happening in slow motion when you turn the steering wheel, get on the accelerator, versus the Modified?
Well, it does. It's kind of like going from a go-kart to maybe a street car or something like that, or a Camaro to a Cadillac. And with the added weight of the Busch cars, they tend to respond a little bit slower than the lightweight Modified.
Folks, we're still under red flags. The work goes on the backstretch. As Marty Reese said, we'll be back to green flag racing hopefully in just a few moments. There's the top 5. We'll be back with more after this.
But I will tell you what I eat when I come to Indianapolis Raceway Park. Italian sausage. That's it. So good and so good for you. The big crowd here, 30, 35,000 people. A little frustrated right now, a little disappointed. If you're the promoter, the last thing in the world you want to have is something that causes you to have to stop the race, knocking the wall down.
Well, about a 10-minute break is very convenient for a promoter. Sell a lot of Italian sausage.
And then get them all right back over the seats and get it started again. And Marty may be able to give us a progress report, or at least a report on something that's happening with the guys that are going to be back in the spotlight here momentarily.
Yeah, Betty, I got the cue. I've got an Italian sausage heading your way. One of the most frustrating things for a pit crew is when you know you have a problem and you're not allowed to work on the truck. Take a look at the Pure One crew for Mike Wallace. They are checking everything out. They've got hammers in hand. They're ready to put the metal back in place, but they cannot touch the vehicle until after this race goes green. Very frustrating.
So how does that fit in with the tape report? Did Bickle take tape off? Or did they put tape on? We may want to check into that a little further. I mean,
you're not supposed to be allowed to work on the vehicles during a red flag situation. That's what we're talking about. And Hornaday was so upset that Bickle got out of his truck. His truck was overheating, and he had some tape on the grill. So Rich Bickle just reached up and pulled a piece of that tape off. I'm assuming that's what it sounds like happened. I didn't see it, and Bickle did not admit to it, so I'm just assuming some things. I never see. They do have the wall back together. Dennis Huth stands on it. He looks at it, and he says, "Are we ready to go?" Looks like they've put some type of support system behind there, another wall behind there.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yep. Looks like we're ready to go.
Which then solves the problem. By the way, Tammy Kirk has been checked out and cleared. She is okay. Bob Lutz of the Chrysler Corporation, the Grand Marshal here this evening. We got a chance to talk to him before the green.
Down here with Bob Lutz, Vice Chairman of the Chrysler Corporation. You got to be excited about this Craftsman Truck Series. Its first victory coming this year for Dodge. What about the future as far as where does the company go next?
Well, we hope to do better and better in this series. It's been only our second season after a 20-year hiatus in our NASCAR participation. We're already doing so much better this year than we did last. We're constantly finding horsepower and chassis improvements. And we'll be coming on reasonably soon, I think, with some major power boosts. So in a few races from now, we expect to be even a whole lot more competitive than we are today.
I've got to ask you, Ford unveiled the four-door Taurus for next year. Will we see Chrysler get back into Winston Cup?
No, because we really do believe in racing things that are close to what we build. And, you know, a truck is a V8. The race engine is made in the same plant as our normal truck engines. They're rear-wheel drive like our trucks are. They look like our trucks. Whereas, you know, you'd have to ask Ford, but a Taurus is a V6 front-wheel drive sedan that they're making into a great big V8 rear-wheel drive sedan. And it just kind of, it's still a good spectacle. That part's fine, but it gets you away from really building what you race, which is what, for better or for worse, that's what we believe in.
Bob, thank you for the candid answer. Appreciate it.
That'll be disappointing, I think, to Dodge fans who would like to relive the era of Richard Petty winning in the Dodges, and I am stunned to find out that those cars are not really stock. Tammy Kirk is A-OK, and I believe we're going to get the opportunity to hear from her. Let's go to Marty.
Yeah, Tammy, Joe is down here, released from the medical center. You're A-OK, and you knocked down barriers to get into the sport, being the first woman in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, but you're not supposed to knock down the barriers out there.
I tell you, we knocked that wall down that back straightaway. I tell you, the level truck, we were having trouble. We had a flat tire there, got it cut down early in the race there, and we were trying to get the truck going back, and I passed the 27 truck going in the corner there, and I sort of pieced him off. I thought I had him good and clear, and next thing I know, I knocked the wall down. And, you know, it's really a shame. Lovable's really been behind me 100%, and we want to get this truck back, but it looks pretty bad right now. It tore the shock mounts out, tore the A-arm mounts out, so right now we're going to burn the situation and see what we can do.
Well, guys, you can hear by the sound in the background, Tammy's not going to be there as we get ready to go green again.
Well, I'll tell you what, it would take a mighty tough truck to come back and race after doing this kind of damage to the concrete at Indianapolis Raceway Park. The wall is fixed, the engines are roaring. We'll be right back. Without a controversy, tonight's is called Tape Gate. The series point leader, Rich Bickle, stops under the red flag, takes tape off the truck because it is overheating. Ron Hornaday, racing for the championship, is quick to point it out. NASCAR says, got to go to the back. Can't work on that truck in the red. Wow. Championship point leader is on the tail end of the field as we go back to green in the Cummins 200. Wow.
That is big. That is big. There's a lot of guts for the NASCAR Craftsman truck officials to make that rule.
Back underway. Hornaday takes another shot at the point to the pole sitter. And the guy who has led this thing from the get-go, but Jimmy Hensley once again holds him off. Yeah, perhaps Hornaday has the better gear, but Jimmy has the preferred line through the corner. Look out, here it comes. Great shot, isn't it?
Sure is.
Now we're going to have Kevin Harvick in the midst of that top 5 a lap down. He's the truck down on the inside. We get back at it here. Jack Sprague gets around him nicely. In third in the green Quaker State truck. Got a bit of a gap back to Mike Bliss, who is now 4th after Bickle dropped to the rear of the field.
Here comes Hornaday. He's got a run, but not enough of a run to get by the 43 truck. The Cummins Dodge of Jimmy Hensley. Pole sitter has led every lap. Here's our Napa Field summary. Take a look where your favorite truck driver is running. In parentheses on the right is where they started. Kenny Irwin starting 18th up to 10th. Impressive.
Yeah, he's had company in that run. Rudman has come with him all the way from 22nd to 11th. So that's a good run for him. Stacy Thompson has picked up 10th spot. Skinner from last to 19th. I have a feeling that before this thing is over, we may get a chance to see Skinner on your television screen right there in your living room.
Well, there he is, as a matter of fact. Stacy Compton, Terry Cook, and Mike Skinner. The red truck is Skinner. 86, Stacy Compton.
This is Keselowski looking forward as Skinner picks off another spot. Terry Cook's won a lot of track championships in northern Ohio and southern Michigan. He watches the former series champions go flashing by. Take an opportunity to learn. He can track the progress of his run up through the field. He wasted no time in getting started. Been an impressive charge indeed. One other note about Bickle. When we came back from commercial, you noted that he was just coming off pit road. That was not because they imposed the penalty there. Once they made the decision that he had to go to the back of the field, he said, well, I'm going to get what I can out of this. He pulled in for a chassis adjustment to try to get that truck just a bit better. But the big story is that Bickle, coming off his worst race of the season last week at Heartland Park, is now in deep and serious trouble again as he has to go to the tail end of this field. Very good chance he'll lose the point lead here today.
Right now, you're right. He's in 24th position is Rich Bickle. There we see Rick Crawford, the very first lap, made some contact with the outside retaining wall, but the truck is still running and still running pretty good as Kevin Zawinski tries to get by. That is 15th place, the 14th truck. Kevin Zawinski is trying to take that over. He's 16th right now.
I'll tell you what, it's been a great year for rookies, and Crawford is right there in the thick of it. He has now moved within 8 points of leader Kenny Irwin Jr. in the battle for the Centos Rookie of the Year championship. Zawinski says, hey, I'm a rookie at this too, but I'm not a rookie racer. He's the ASA Series point leader. Rick Crawford comes out of All-Pro. They got a pretty good little scramble going on here, man.
Sure do. There's Zawinski trying to take a look. Can't quite make it. This is the Dana Dodge that Zawinski is driving. Kurt Rourke's car. Michael Dawkins started the race, the season in this truck, and Kurt decided he'd have tryouts in this truck who was in the truck last week?
It's been a revolving door affair. I don't remember who was in it last week, but I thought, well, there are 6 different drivers that are slated, including Dawkins, to get back in later in the year.
There's Tony Raines, the 19th truck. Rick Pirelli, the 6th. And there's the Davis Indy.
Raines gave Dodge their inaugural victory in this series after a couple of years of trying. That came at I-70 Speedway. A couple of years for Dodge trying, but for Raines, it was only his 5th time in a truck. So that ASA series is a good place to learn how to drive with these things. Pirelli's had a tough year. And now here's Rutman. This is a position battle as he moves down to the bottom and gets around McLaughlin. That would be for tail end of the top 10, 8th and 9th. Roper has more difficulty.
He's lost a wheel bearing in the right front of that Ford truck. Remember, he made contact with the wall and evidently bent something. The wheel bearing has now gone out. As you see Mike McLaughlin trying to stay in front of Kenny Irwin. That's McLaughlin in the green truck. The smoke is from Tony Roper the last time by.
Significance here, I think, is that Rutman has finally worked his way around Irwin. He'd been following Irwin through this field for a long time, and now he's passed Irwin and McLaughlin in the process. Joe Rutman from 22nd is now 8th. Jack Sprague continues to pound the rear tailgate of Ron Hornaday. Rerun of last year's championship battle, and could very well be again this year. Sprague 2nd in the points, Hornaday 4th.
This battle between the 24 of Sprague, the 16 of Hornaday. Rob Rizzo, the 27th truck, just went down the front straightaway off the pace.
Been involved in a couple of incidents tonight, including the one where Kirkman stopped the race when they knocked the wall down over there.
And Joe Rutman goes in right on the back of Jay Sauter, a battle for 7th spot.
Old Joe has a seriously fast truck tonight, and he is driving it very, very well.
Running up front, doesn't he?
I think so.
Last week he won the race at Topeka, and that's pretty neat. I'll try that again.
He's got the bookends on the season. He won the first race of the last race. Sauter, as you can see, is going the wrong way. He started 7th. He's back, stand corrected. Started 14th and is now 7th. So he too is going forward, but not at the pace of Rutman, who's come from 22nd now to try to take the 7th spot away from Jay Sauter.
He's got a break. He gets off the corner with a lot of momentum. And he drives down in the corner, but that was close.
I'll bet Sauter knows he's there.
It's a good thing those brakes worked that time.
Joe Rutman is such a likable guy and not afraid to get the needle out. We'll be having the mid season pit stop show for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series coming up next week, and a few interesting things to say about his old buddy One Whack Jack.
And that time Sauter, and they rub it. Oh, that's some good contact that time. Off the corner, and Rubber will take the spot away, and McLaughlin said, I think I'll try that rubbing and racing deal too. Worked for him. It worked for him. Worked for Rubber and for McLaughlin.
Sauter from 7th to 9th, and Kenny Irwin working right there. Say, maybe I can get a piece of this too. I got a feeling that Sauter's going to be able to regroup there. Well, Irwin got a nose down alongside, but there's nothing there. Joe Rudman, the oldest man ever to win in this series, but a guy who's certainly young in heart and attitude. He's got a great deal of enthusiasm, and this series has really rekindled that, I think, for him. Benny
Sure has. Looks like a young guy. Wade jumps up and around on top of those cars to win. Looks like a young guy.
Well, he is closing in on the top 5. Randy Tolsma is at the tail end of that top 5 as we take a commercial break. Back here, check this guy out. Mark Green is in 7th spot. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Might be his second race in this truck series. And we see there's a pretty good battle as the 98 and 3 still continue to battle for that 9th position.
Now, this has been going on a while. Remember, Irwin was not able to get around Sauter and follow Ruttman through. And this, trouble here for the number 57 truck. And that is a pretty serious deal for Brian Cunningham. He's been clipping the rear, as we saw earlier. He was involved in that little simul spin up in turn 3, and now he's got additional difficulty. This is nothing like Grandpa said road racing this like. This is all different. Briggs Cunningham, who took those outrageous cars over to Le Mans, and was just really a pioneer of American road racing. Well, here it is. We predicted it as we went to the commercial break. Number 61 is Randy Tolsma, and number 80 is now 5th. That would be Joe Ruttman.
Man, oh man, is Ruttman going through the field. Of course, when he catches those next cars, it's a little bit harder to pass. It goes a little bit faster. You see the gap between Tolsma and the fourth-place truck of Bliss is about a complete straightaway, the back straight.
Never ceases to be amaze me. You go to a place like Indianapolis Raceway Park, everybody knows it's hard to pass. There's not been a lead pass. Oh, here's trouble for Sauter.
I don't know if he just got the truck loose off the corner, lost his momentum or what, but a lot of trucks went by, and Stacy Compton's beating on that 3 coming off the corner.
He may have touched the wall up there, too. He got way out of shape coming off the second turn, had to get out of the gas, and it cost him huge momentum. And what, 5, 6 spots on the racetrack. So Jay Sauter,
that left rear tire is flat.
Keep an eye on Sauter and see if he might be headed to the pit. He's back in 14th position. Here's Hensley. There's the gap back to Hornaday. Hensley got here for the moment what he had been hoping for. That was a long run of green. He predicted if he could get that, he might be able to get away from Hornaday, and it seems to be working.
Yes, it does. He's pulled out to probably a 10, 15 truck length advantage on Hornaday. But Hornaday cannot get away from Jack Sprague.
Jack is right there, and Mike Bliss has managed to keep the Dodge and the 2 Chevys in front of him squarely in his sights here. He inherited 4th spot, and now he's hanging on to it in the Ford. Let's go trackside and see if we can find out more about Jay Sauter's situation. Marty Reed.
Well, guys, Jay Sauter does not have a tire going down. He has got a very tight race truck.
Chassis problem that the 3 truck has.
Big push.
The problem, you practice and qualify during the day, and when the sun goes down, you're racing at night, and the chassis changes dramatically 180 degrees. It takes a lot of experience and a lot of guesswork to be able to set that thing up for something at 10 o'clock at night.
Just from practice to qualifying, we saw a big drop-off in the speed. We mentioned that they broke the track record. The top 9 or 10 qualifiers were faster than a year ago, but of course that situation is the same every year. Practice, then the track loses speed, and then by the time you get to night, it's a completely different situation.
Completely different racetrack. So this break, and then we see Bliss drives up on the inside of the 24, could not quite make it.
A little reminder that Hornaday's not the only guy on the racetrack that Sprague needs to be thinking about. Mike Bliss is there as well.
So the break is coming up in about 3 laps. You know, these NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, they have a break at 101 laps. And boy, there's 5 minutes for the mechanics to work on these trucks. And trust me, they will be wrenches flying, hammers trailing to get those trucks down the pit area.
And Marty Reed just beating feet up and down pit road trying to stay on top of it all. Bliss looks like a man who has a notion he'd rather be 3rd than 4th at the break, but Sprague will certainly not give up that spot easily. I started to mention before that incident with Sauter that when you come to a place like Indianapolis Raceway Park, everybody says it's hard to pass. You look at the record, there's never been a lead change here because of Skinner's dominance. Then you get a guy like Ruttman who runs from 22nd to 7th and then into the top 5, and you go, what's up with that? How come one guy can fit?
We'll see if he can pass these top 4 cars as the caution flag comes out, because we are now at the halfway break.
Jimmy Hensley maintains the tradition here. The pole sitter has led every lap that has run on this racetrack for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and Jimmy is halfway there as we take a break at lap 101. We'll take a commercial break and come back and work on trucks. Cummins 200, 101 laps are in the book. Pole sitter pulls in as the leader, and it's Marty Reed's turn. Go get him, buddy.
All right, guys, we're waiting for Rich Bickle to come in, and the biggest problem there is he is 18th on this field, and he has not made it in yet. I tell you what, let's go over the wall, and we'll come back to him because we don't want to waste any of this good time. Jack Sprague has done very well. We didn't get to talk to you at the beginning of that red flag situation because we had a controversy. For a change, you weren't involved in it.
They tried to get me involved in it, and I just decided to stay right out of it. I got enough trouble on my own, but...
Well, so far, everybody's been running pretty much in lock station. Are we going to see anything different here in the second half now that we get down to some serious racing?
Well, I tell you, the Quaker State Chevrolet's awful good. It's just a little tight in the center, but them 2 guys in front of me are awful good, too, and so is the one behind me, so...
Well, everybody's been talking about it being a little tight. Let's move back to see if we can catch up with Mike Bliss. This is the guy that, in his days of sprint cars and Silver Crowns, he pretty much owned this track. He's got the helmet off, taking a cool drink. How tough is it out here? We've talked about the fact you used to own this track.
It seems a little bit tough to pass tonight. The bottom groove isn't really in yet, and I'm working good down there trying to bring it in, but it's just a little tough to pass tonight. It's a little slick.
As far as changes, what are you going to do?
It looks like a fuel pump. We ran out of fuel pressure, and it was missing the last 25 laps.
So you got a serious problem if they can't get this fixed before we go back green.
Well, they're working hard. I think they can do it. We're not touching the chassis. It's perfect.
All right, guys, we'll check back with them and see on the update on the fuel pump. Let's go on back to Jimmy Hensley. He is right behind us one more time. Watch out for the jack, David. We don't want to knock the car and the truck off the stand. And it looks like, radio's going to try and jump in there. Jimmy going? Yep, he's going. Well, so let's send back up to you guys. We'll come on track catch up with Joe Ruttman.
We want to update a situation that Sprague may have alluded to. He said, I've got myself out of that controversy. Last week, you may have left the telecast of the Heartland Park race under the impression that he was going to be penalized 15 seconds for a violation down there of running off the course. Well, as it turned out, when they reviewed the videotape after the race, he was an innocent man. There was no penalty, and Sprague ended up second, but he made a reference there to the fact that he is keeping his nose very clean tonight. Here's your race recap. Hensley's led them all, 101 laps in the book, no lead changes. We have had 5 cautions for 19 laps, and of course the red flag on lap 57, keeping the average speed down. That's kind of a nice statistic if you happen to be the one guy who's led a lap.
Yes, Jimmy Hensley, the only lap leader. Tony Roper is out of the race, qualified 3rd. So I know that Bob Brevac was very excited. He and Shelley, his wife, the owners of that truck, but not tonight.
Well, let's hear from the guy who has charged through this field. There he is, Marty Tucker Ruttman.
Hey, I got to tell you, you have made the biggest move towards the front, and you keep talking about the last lap's the only one you want to lead, but you're moving like you want to be there in about 10 more.
Well, I think the major reason, Jack, come in here for a second. I think it's a major reason, maybe he encourages me a little bit every time he comes. He says, he first asked me why I started back so far. So I said the only way I can recoup is try to pick up some of those positions. So I'm trying to press the box.
We've had 2 or 3 problems. He starts back. Last year he wrecked on the first lap. We said
look that way. They don't want to look at me.
We said this year, if Joe wrecks, he's going to wreck either protecting or going for the lead on the last lap. And, of course, he was being pretty hard on his car on the bottom there, so he's doing a little better with that. But the big thing last year, they didn't have any flashlights. And for night racing, we're concentrating. We got lots of flashlights this year.
Hey, I got to ask you, what changes are you making to this machine?
Joe doesn't want any changes. He thinks he's got about 60 laps. He can go as hard as he can. He just got to pick which 60 laps he goes.
Hey, I want to give you a statistic on Jack Roush Racing this year. This guy with that win at Topeka, he is still batting 1,000 on all road course racing. Tommy Kendall's won every SCCA Trans Am race. Hey, remember Mark Martin won out at Sears Point? He won the Topeka. These guys are on a roll on the road course.
Hubman's no glory hog. He says, hey, get the boss in here. Get the guy that pays the bills on TV.
That's pretty smart, wasn't it?
Here's Randy Tolles. He's having a great run. He was just bumped out of the top 5 by Ruttman shortly before the midway break. Started 7th and sitting in 6th, and that's particularly impressive given the fact that they couldn't hit a lick in practice today. They found that when they needed it just before qualifying. So as the break winds down, we'll take a break.
Led 350 straight laps here. Mike Skinner, he is in the pits. They are working feverishly because the trucks are already starting to move out after the break. He's got a smile on his face because he's moved up from dead last. I think he's 16th, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they have got a problem. We had some contact. You can see all the rub marks on the right side. They knocked the toe out. They're desperately trying to get this thing back into shape because he is not going to make it from 16th to 1st without having that toe set up properly. We're not going to have time to talk to him because they're getting ready to go.
Man, that's a crash.
That is a crash. Taking the hammer, trying to beat the hood pin in or out.
Kenny Irwin is also in the final moments of his service, and they're doing a little cosmetic work on the right front there. Who would he have gotten into? Gosh, it's hard to tell. Oh yeah, maybe Sauter. Let's talk about what's happening in the Brickyard weekend. We're all over that on ESPN. Qualifying, of course. Second round tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and then RPM tonight, every night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Before they go green, that'll happen Friday night at 7:30, right after RPM tonight. Then we get on into the Speed Week activity here live from IRP. I get the honors on that one, and then the Busch Series. I'll follow Bill Weber around the pits while Jerry Punch calls the action up on top of the Kroger 200, 16th running thereof. On into Saturday, RPM today. They've been here through the whole week, and their show on Saturday will be at 11:30 in the morning. Then the On the Grid show, that's an hour-long special prior to the Brickyard 400. The big race itself is on the Mother Network, ABC. I don't think there's a whole lot left there. Oh, well, yeah, there is, too. They run the race, and then we come back with RPM tonight after the race, just in case you missed it, but I assume you won't. And if you still haven't seen it, I can't imagine why. But if you just want to see it again, the recap will be on Sunday. Bliss, time to go. What's up with this? Fuel pump problem? That truck was running pretty well, Benny, for or at least getting around the racetrack pretty fast for one that wasn't running well.
He said the truck had missed for the last 25 laps, and we saw him trying to pass Jack Sprague for the 3rd spot.
Get all the cylinders firing. He's liable to be tough.
They're still working, and here comes the trucks.
Buddy, he better hurry.
Does that put him a lap down if they go by?
Let's see. You cannot lose position during the caution, so I guess this lap doesn't count, but I'm not 100% certain.
We'll have to find out because the truck has passed Mike Bliss. Now they've spent all their time changing the fuel pump. Now they decided to change the tires. And he's trying to beat, looks like
he's going out there like he thought he might be losing a lap.
And I guess they did change 4 tires.
No, he's okay. He does not lose position. He'll go back in 4th spot, theoretically at least, with a truck that'll now run on 8 cylinders and has 4 fresh tires. That is interesting that after all that, they left the tires to the very last instant.
Yes. I'm impressed that they're able to change a fuel pump. As hot as that engine is, and that length of time, Barry, take a bow. You guys did a great job.
Marty Reed says, let me talk to him. There's Bliss. He's back in shape. Got him, Marty?
Yeah, I got him. He's got to get over the wall here. They're telling him to move. Bring that other leg over the wall. Bring that other leg over the wall so you're legal. I don't want you getting a penalty because of us. You guys did a yeoman's piece of work there.
Put a fuel pump on. I mean, they were rolling off, and we couldn't get it started. I finally got it started. I stayed under it. The guys did a great job. We had a good plan. We were losing fuel pressure in the first half. That's why I wouldn't run off the corner, but it's on there. Everything looks good.
I'll tell you what, guys, it takes me a week to get my fuel pump changed, and I guarantee you, if Bliss has got a full running truck, he's going to be a handful.
All right, nice piece of work. The old adage about the crew, and they always get credit. Yeah, the crew did a great job on a moment like that. You know that the drivers mean it. How's that for the restart?
Kenny Irwin driving along in 9th place, entering best of sport.
We get a better idea of what happened that caused that right front damage on Irwin.
You see, that's Mike McLaughlin from the 53 truck, and they come off the corner, and is there contact?
I just about have to bet that there is.
Yes, ooh, there we go. Almost tore the rear bumper cover off the 53 truck. All right, folks, back to green flag racing. There it is, and Jimmy Hensley accelerates. Who made the right changes?
99 to go. Hornaday says, I'm not going to play a card this time, Jimmy. But you have not seen the last of me. The last truck's down on the bottom straight, getting away from Bliss. Let's see how Bliss comes back up to speed. Redmond is going to be right on his rear bumper. The first two Fords in the field are 4th and 5th. Sauter has regrouped here.
He's trying to get regrouped. And there we see the smoker going down the corner, and that's Mike Skinner.
That's not a toe-in problem.
No, that's... And the trucks are still running, so that's a, I don't know, an oil line or something like that. For the lead, here comes Hornaday and Hensley side by side.
Jimmy got to hang on to her now. They say the outside line is the preferred groove. Hensley's a believer. Hornaday says, I got to do it on the bottom. I got to do it any way I can. This is what you paid to see, ladies and gentlemen.
Hornaday will not give it up. He finally does. Hensley maintains that lead.
That was cool customer work right there. That's what, 30 years of racing experience.
It really was.
Hornaday sure took a shot at him. Marty, what'd they change on that thing during the break?
Well, during the break, they took some tire pressure and readjusted that, and they also put a rubber in the right rear. They loosened this baby up, and so far it looks pretty good.
Skinner continues to circulate. He's been black flagged, and he has heated that black flag. Skinner has gone to the pits.
There he comes. That was definitely oil, and the official said, we'll have none of that. So a great charge from last to 16th. He has come to the pits, and the crew are there to attend to it.
Oh, did you see that flagman, that fireman take a header?
I sure did.
Wow.
There's an opening on a gymnastics team for him somewhere. If you do that with a fire extinguisher, imagine what you could do in a little leotard.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, you almost got to wonder. There was such a panic down there with that truck just before they went out. You almost got to wonder if they didn't suspect that they had a problem before they went out. I mean, if there's a toe-in problem, you know that when you come in.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bad end for Skinner. But, of course, he's qualified 6th over at the Brickyard, so he gets another opportunity to be a hero. Hensley has pulled back out to 3-4 truck length lead here on Hornaday, who now has to figure out another way to do it. The element of surprise has been lost. Sprague, Bliss, Ruttman. No change in the top 5. We'll take you on further back through the field. Ruttman most impressive in coming through traffic. Benny sure made the point, though, that the last 4 guys are a heck of a lot tougher to pass than the first 20.
Exactly. You know, these trucks look like that they've got a downforce problem, aerodynamic problem, that they're not able to close up on those trucks in front of them. And Dennis Huth told me just before the race tonight that they are going to take some of these trucks, a Dodge, a Chevrolet, and a Ford, to the wind tunnel. And they're going to blow some air across these, and I guess they're going to do something similar to what they're doing in the NASCAR Winch Cup Series. If a certain brand has a problem, they will, I guess, give it more spoiler or more downforce in front, something to try to even up the competition in the truck series.
Looking for the level playing field. And you make the point that these trucks have performed pretty well in the high-speed arenas where there were some questions about this, but I would think that that wind tunnel time would give NASCAR a good opportunity to learn more about what the potential is. I mean, how fast a racetrack can you run these things on? One way you find out is to go to the tunnel. Right now, we're going back to Marty.
Well, we're down here with Mike Skinner, and Mike, with all this noise, I don't know if you can hear me, but you got the toe problem fixed, but you got an oil line problem that put you out?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. You know, these guys did the best job they could. We obviously broke an oil line or something with the thing, but I'll tell you that Lumar, it's not a Lumar truck, it's a KFC truck. KFC truck was really good. Kevin did a good job fixing it right there. That thing really cut good after the break, but unfortunately something happened to it. But they will have better luck in the Brickyard.
Guys,
Guys, I'm disappointed. I wanted to see that battle come at the end of the race.
Would have been fun to see how far toward the front he could take that truck, but the opportunity did not come. As Mike Skinner, the defending champion in this race and former series champion, is sidelined by an oil leak, but he'll be sixth on the grid at the Brickyard 400. That despite crashing his primary car. Pretty impressive. We'll be right back. Bickle, the championship series leader, finds himself in the unfortunate straits here this weekend, having been penalized for taking a little bit of tape off the front of the radiator, and boy, that cost him a ton.
And we can see he's worked his way back up to 14th position, and he is, I'll tell you exactly, he's 9.5 seconds behind the leader, Jimmy Hensley.
Forrest Set carrying one of our onboard cameras, and Chuck Bound comes up to give him a nudge and pull up alongside in a battle for position. Chuck Bound is still trying. Yeah, a little touch on the way by. Forrest Set's road racer against the veteran short tracker Bound, and Bound will end up with the position. 14th and 15th. We check that 15th and 16th. So Bound is now the 15th place truck, and Boris falls to 16th.
And a little bit of touch from, I think that's Kevin Zawinski. Yes, it is on the Stacy Compton. And we're looking back at Stacy Compton's Ford truck, and that's Kevin Zawinski in the 18, the Dana truck, and Rick Crawford in the 14.
Zawinski's done a decent job here, hanging on to what he got in qualifying. First on the grid, now 18th. No experience in the trucks. ASA Series point leader coming in. The guy he's racing for that championship, Jerry St. Amant, did not qualify here. So, all in all, Serwinski faring pretty well in this curtain-roaring test of young drivers.
Tom Hubert. Tom Hubert is the driver who drove the truck last week in Topeka. You saw his name. He also worked for Kurt Rourke in his shops back in Thomasville, North Carolina.
Traffic for the leader. The issue now, Jimmy Hensley worked his way through, and now it falls to the second place man Hornaday.
Yeah, it's a bigger issue for Ron Hornaday, because the leader, Hensley, has worked his way through, and there's still another slow car between he and Ron Hornaday.
Hensley did a nice job of running short tracks as long as he has. Feels that Saturday night traffic jam in the bull rings of America, you learn how to find the holes. He's led them all. Dodge has won a race this year. Tony Raines did that for them at I-70 Speedway, so he got the big trick truck that Dodge offered to the first guy who won one. So Jimmy can't get a free truck, but I guarantee you he wants to take this one home for Richard Petty.
Yeah, this might be even better with Bob Lutz, the president of Chrysler Corporation. You're watching and cheering for that 43 truck to win.
Could be big. Hornaday and Sprague. Seems like these two guys have been nose to tail since this series was born. They are again. We'll take a commercial break, and we're getting down toward the end of this thing. Capacity crowd. How about Mike McLaughlin? Team Mike. Kenny Schrader hiring Mike McLaughlin and Mike Wallace to drive the two green and white trucks. McLaughlin's done a pretty good job after Wallace got beat up early.
He has done a great job. We see him, he's closing right on the back bumper of Joe Rudman, and Rudman on the back bumper of Mike Bliss. That's about 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And you can see that they're just a matter of 5 or 6 truck lengths behind the 24th green Quaker State truck of Jack Sprague. So this is still a heck of a battle among the top half dozen. Rudman most impressive in having come from 22nd. McLaughlin started 11th. Irwin hasn't managed to maintain his progress. And there you see some of the guys that have gone the other way. Bickle started 5th, now 17th, now top 15, but that after having gone to the back of the field with a penalty. Huge impact in terms of the championship.
If you just joined us, what was Rich Bickle penalized for? Had a red flag because Tammy Joe Kirsten hit the wall on the back stretch, knocked the gate down. So on the red flag situation, you're not supposed to work on your truck. They stopped the trucks. Rich Bickle got out and took a piece of tape off the grill. His truck was overheating. Was not getting enough air going through the grill into the radiator, so he took a piece of tape off. And NASCAR penalized him, sent him to the rear of the field for working on the truck on a red flag situation.
Ron Hornaday did not miss the opportunity to find that ESPN microphone. Say, I'm going to go put some tape on my truck, because if he can take it off, I can put it on. And next thing you know, the NASCAR officials were all over that one. Not to say that he did that on purpose. Mark Green has been a top 10 runner all evening. Right now, he is feeling the pressure of Bickle. Green has no experience to speak of in these trucks, although he comes from a racing family that's got all kinds of experience. He's the middle brother of the trio out of Owensboro.
There's a picture of Rich Bickle, who is running his 13th spot, back up to the lead. There's our leader, Jimmy Henry, the red and white truck. And there comes the battle for second. There's Ron Hornaday and the 24 truck of Jack Sprague.
They are not getting back. Here's Sprague looking on the outside. They are not getting back the real estate that Hensley got working on the traffic. Meanwhile, Rutland says 5 is nice, 4 would be better. He's going after Bliss.
He took a look on the inside coming off turn 2 to not get the traction, acceleration off the corner. Decided to fall back in because right now he has to drive offensively and defensively, because right behind him is that green truck of Mike McLaughlin. If he tries to make a move and he slips, he's going to lose a spot.
Well, Magic Shoes says, hey, this looks just like Bush car. I wanted one of those here. I'll do the same thing in the truck. Pretty good run 6 for him. Sprague keeps looking. Hornaday keeps defending. Hensley continues to lead. That's been the story of this race in a nutshell. Two very evenly matched Chevys right here as you ride with the Napa Builders entry of Hornaday. His championship defense didn't look very good through much of this season, actually. It's been the last half dozen races when he has really come back to life.
Exactly. The last half dozen, he's won, what, 4 of the last 6 races on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series schedule. Still running, still looking. There we see the 52 truck of Mike Wallace.
That's the McLaughlin teammate for the evening. But Wallace crashed early on. Very good possibility here that Bickle will lose the point lead, although he is recovering rather nicely from that penalty, having moved back to 13th spot. The guy who is on his tailgate in terms of the championship is the guy who's on Hornaday's tailgate on the racetrack. That's Jack Sprague. Sprague is second. Rutland is third, and Hornaday is fourth. So all the guys pursuing Bickle in points are in this top 5 position battle in the race, and Bickle's back at 13th, so it's going to definitely compress the points, and I can't do the arithmetic fast enough, but I got to think Bickle's in danger of losing the lead.
I would say that Sprague would be a few points ahead, but just a few points ahead of Bickle if the way it finishes tonight. And what did Bickle happen? He lost a couple of car lengths. Oh, I see. He backed up to get a good run just to show Mark Green. Look, Green. Now, much faster than you are. Just move over and let me go, is my guess is what he's trying to tell him.
He's run a little different line on occasion throughout the evening, and whatever he's trying to do here with Mark is not working out right now. All right, there is the 66 of Repner, and on the outside is Jay Sauter, who's won a race this year. Meanwhile, Crawford, who had the crash on the first lap, has regrouped nicely as he tries to close in on the TOS Rookie of the Year championship, and he's going to get around most of those guys.
Oh, and Andy Houston spins, goes in, spins. The leader gets by. Looks like everyone is going to get by.
Directly in front of the leaders. They all had to thread that proverbial great piece of driving, keeping it up on the wall, right?
Yes, it was.
Close your eyes, just hang on and jam on the brakes and hope you don't hit anything.
The key thing is hit the brakes. Let's take a look as we see Crawford and the 3 truck, and look at Andy gets a great run off the corner. He says, man, I'm passing that 3 truck. The truck that won the championship last year. Look, he's in my rearview mirror. Oops. There's the corner. I better hit the brake. Oh, it's too late. I'm spun out. Don't it?
Well, he held on. He steered her for a long time. I may save it. I may save it. Well, I'm in the wall.
Yeah, he got so excited about passing that 3 truck, he couldn't stand himself.
Look at there. Correct it. Haven't hit anything yet.
But when the sparks fly,
and that's bad. End of story. Let's see what Keselowski saw in the Dodge.
Oh, he said, please stay up there. Please stay up there. Okay, I'm about. Do whatever you want to now.
So the yellow flies again here. We had a pretty long, clean, and green run. Now we'll set up for the finish. Stay tuned. Full timing. The commercial is over, and the race restarts after the sixth caution of the evening. Lap 149. We're three-quarters of the way home. Hornaday can't find his way around Jimmy Hensley. Been trying that all night long, and it hasn't worked yet.
Little contact that time is when it turned one. Hensley's car just a little sideways, able to correct it back up. Hornaday says, I'm going to pressure him all I can. This is my shot. Where'd he go? Driving away from me.
50 to go, no guarantee that he'll get another opportunity. And I think it's fair to say that the aggression level increases as you get closer to the end of the race, trying to make that pass.
Man, that is a great shot, isn't it? And you know something, folks, let me just tell you, I don't know how this happened, but Joe Rutman, that's in front of Mike Bliss. Joe Rutman is now fourth.
Rutman with an amazing charge through the field. Jay Sauter, who was indirectly involved in that incident in which Andy Houston crashed and brought out that yellow, came in during the caution and made an amazing chassis adjustment. They took 6 rounds out of the back, 4 on the driver's side and 2 on the passenger side. So I would say he wasn't handled real well.
And Bliss is having a problem. The leaders are running away from him, and we see he's back in the clutches of the 53 of McLaughlin. That's Randy Tolman, the white truck, IWX.
There's the gap. That's between 4th and 5th. This is 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So Bliss, who overcame a fuel pump malfunction very nicely at the tail end of the first half, apparently has something else bad wrong with the Ultra Wheels truck.
That's right. We can see the field, the first 4 trucks is driving away. And here comes the McLaughlin truck on the inside. Can't quite make it.
Mike, who was so pleased to be up there battling for a top 5 position, suddenly becomes a very frustrated man saying, hey, Bliss, I can't go race with the leaders as long as you're sitting there in the middle of the racetrack. He's just fast enough that McLaughlin can't get around him.
That's a recipe for trouble. You have a truck like that that's holding up other trucks, about 6 or 8 trucks back, there's going to be some contact in a minute. We're going to have a crank.
Frustration level goes up about 1 crank every lap. You can't stand very many cranks. Let's go to Marty and see if we can find out what's up here.
All right, let's update you on everybody. First off, Jimmy Hensley. He's telling his crew it's tight going into the corner. I'm okay coming off. Then you go to Hornaday. He's telling his guys it's tight coming halfway through the corner all the way out. Then, the problem with Mike Bliss, he's got a vibration. They don't know what the problem is there. Jack Sprague says, I could give Hensley something if I could just get around Ron Hornaday. He says he's got that truck so wide, it looks like a tank.
I've never quite understood the theory in that. I can't pass the second place guy, but if I could pass him, then I know I can pass the leader. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, perfect. I think right now that Sprague is a little bit quicker than Hornaday, but he's right. And Hensley comes off the corner, and Sprague might be the fastest truck in this group, or Rutman. They might be the 2 fastest trucks here, but again, trying to prove that is going to be very, very difficult because they've got to pass 2 trucks to do it.
You can't be a little bit faster than a guy and pull it off. Here's Zawinski now as he moves up on the inside of the recently crashed Andy Houston. And for the record, Houston is the son of the legendary Tommy Houston.
Boy, they've done some serious driving, aren't they? Andy's brother, Marty, I think, has won 4 or 5 in a row on Saturday night at the Hickory Speedway. NASCAR Racing Series.
Makes that truck pretty good, but continues to truck. Meanwhile, I believe Sauter has a problem worse than the handling difficulty that stands to the
caution is out.
Everybody's going to get another shot.
I guess he's hit the wall. I guess that the 3 has hit the wall. Looks like the right front tire is flat on it. Wow.
Just made a monster chassis adjustment during that previous caution, and now he has created a caution all his own.
He has smacked the wall. The right front is sparking so badly because it's not rolling. Tire spot is supposed to roll. It's not. There we see him going in the corner, and we've already had contact with the wall. So what caused all this? No idea. And we see the parts flying out, that was parts of the brake rotor. Each time these trucks hit the wall that right front, they shear the brake rotor. The brake rotor just comes apart in pieces. So they need to send some officials out to clean up all the debris down there because it will definitely puncture a tire.
So we have the 7th caution of the Cummins 200. Hornaday will have another restart opportunity on Hensley when we come back. Park, the Cummins 200. Note the light pole. Note the light. Note that the light is not lit.
Where were you when the lights went out, Dave?
Well, at the moment, you know what? They're not all out, which strikes me as odd.
That is very odd. Look at that. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, and one of them is working, 7 aren't.
And it's not just that pole. There are a series of poles, obviously, all around the racetrack. It brings back, in my mind, the 1995 race. What was the last lap of the race, right? Gary St. Amant. Where was Gary when the lights went out? Well, he was at the scene of the crime because he whacked that light pole and darkened things over in that corner of the racetrack.
That's why that concrete wall that you see there is there, because of Gary St. Amant.
Check this out. This is apparently a fairly serious problem because they have red flagged the race for the 2nd time. It happened the first time when Tammy Kirk got into the gate over at turn 2 and actually broke the concrete. That was back on lap 58. But now it's lights out on sections of the racetrack. Turn 2 to work.
This official is telling the crews, you got to quit working. The red flag is out. You got to, see, he's telling them you got to quit working. Right, Marty?
Yeah, I think that is the call right now, and they want to work on that wheel hub assembly, and they're trying to take the old one off, and they're still poking their head in there. And they're still trying to discuss this with the NASCAR Craftsman official, and we'll find out and get the official ruling, because they're still going to work, but everybody else is at dead stop.
The brake rotor is part of it's missing. You see on the other side over there, part of the rotor is missing. Each time these cars hit the wall, see, the bottom of the rotor is completely gone. That's what happens when these cars hit the wall with the right front. It just breaks the rotor all to pieces. Marty?
Yeah, the update is they have withdrawn the truck from the race, so that's why they're working on it. They're just trying to get it so they can roll it back behind the wall. So the number 3 truck is done for the evening.
Not enough time to effect a repair because that's a pretty significant amount of damage. It happened up at turn 1.
Now, here's what I was talking about just a moment ago. You see the truck sliding along. He's hit the wall. And let's see, where there's that black piece bounced up and almost hit the wall. There's another piece. That's pieces of brake rotor coming off and falling on the racetrack.
That's in the wake of the big change they made on the chassis. The truck had gone bad on them in terms of handling. There's Richard Childress, the owner. Will Lind, who runs the truck operation. And here's your Napa field summary as we bring this field back under red for the 2nd time on lap 162 here, getting toward the short end of this race. Guys were all geared up for a finish, and now they've got some time to think about it because the lights are out over in turn 2, and no explanation as yet as to the cause. You can see that the top 20 trucks are still on the lead lap, including some guys without a lot of truck experience. We're going to take a break and come back. We'll have power at the sausage stand. The bad news is you folks have only got 5 minutes to get down there and get your sausage and get back in your seats. That's what they're estimating for a time for the restart here on this red flag situation. If the race ended now, Jack Sprague would be your point leader. Rich Bickle would fall to 2nd. This is a result of the penalty imposed on Bickle the last time we had a red flag. He took a little tape off the grill to cool the truck, and it cost him the championship point lead. The penalty was to go to the back. You guys have terrific taste in television. Let's go to Marty.
We're down here with Rich Bickle, still the leader, and 38 laps to go. And what's the truck doing out there?
Well, we're a little bit tight off the corner. I think everybody's fighting that problem a little bit. But, you know, same deal. We just need some green flag racing, and these cautions, I don't really need them. So, try to see if we can hang on.
Do you feel like the gods above are not working on your side right now?
Well, I don't know. You know, we've been wrecking pretty good tonight, and restarts has hurt us, and, you know, Ron's pretty stout on restarts, and I just need some green flags so this Cummins Dodge can get away from them a little bit.
38 laps to go, guys. He's ready to go.
Marty.
Yeah.
Step back. There's Richard Petty, his truck. Step back away from that truck.
Okay.
Step back. Look on the side. What does it say?
What, join the team?
No, it says 43, right? repeat after me. Jimmy Hensley.
Jimmy Hensley.
Okay, good enough.
Marty still doesn't know what happened.
No, you called him Rich Bickle.
There's the king. Turn around here. Let us see that smile. He doesn't wear his sunglasses at night. I guess you don't need them when it gets as dark as it is around here. Apparently, it's a circuit breaker that is the culprit, and our best people are on it, and we anticipate that they'll have that fixed and have the lights back up momentarily. It is Brickyard Week here in Indianapolis, and the estimates of the crowd, 350,000 over at the big racetrack on Saturday when they drop the green. It is a very big weekend, not only for race fans around the area, but it's a particularly special weekend for a special group of kids. They're over at Methodist Hospital, and because they don't have quite enough fun in their lives, the Championship Auto Racing Auxiliary have taken it upon themselves to create a little party, the second annual Brickyard Party for the children of Methodist Hospital. They got Power Rangers, they got pizza, and they've got prizes. What more could a youngster ask for? See, he's happy. The one thing they could ask for would be a driver's autograph. And so Johnny Benson from Winston Cup and Steve Reeves from Busch, and there's Crawford, Raines, Rizzo, Ruttman from the trucks, all show up to help out.
I would say this is probably as rewarding as anything could happen, and you see happy little faces. It's not feeling well, but you get a chance to see the real inner person sneak out every once in a while, and hopefully they'll all get better and be able to go home with Mom and Dad.
We are so indebted to NASCAR and to the NASCAR truck drivers that came, and a wonderful, wonderful turnout of patients and families.
Yeah, it's nice to see that smile. Tip of the hat to everybody involved in making that happen. Did you hear about the autograph party they had on Tuesday night? 20,000 people showed up. They were just overwhelmed, and they ended up having to close the doors and send some of them home without an autograph. Hello, folks. We're as happy to see you as you are to see us. Thank you for the wave, but mostly thank you for being here. We're going to take a commercial break and come back with more.
I know that these guys are watching a red flag situation at Indianapolis Raceway Park, but that's exactly what we've got here at the Cummins 200, and I'm down here with Joe Ruttman, the man who has moved from 22nd now to 4th. First off, what is the truck doing throughout the race course, and do you have anything left for the three in front of you?
Well, it's a little bit tight on the exit side, and I'm thinking that if the red truck runs out of gas, and the other one has whatever problems he had last week, and the green one, someone talks to him, I could win.
That sounds awfully familiar, like Topeka to me. I don't know. Are you trying to script these things?
Well, it kind of looks the same way to me. We need to check the red truck on fuel and make sure he can go the distance. Did he pit?
Yeah, he did, back at the break. And believe it or not, it's not Rich Bickle driving that truck. It's Jimmy Hensley, and my apologies, guys, for spacing on that earlier. I finally caught up with you, Benny, and, you know, every now and then your pit reporter lets you down. But what about the rest of this? I mean, seriously, do you have anything left for those three?
I think we're going to have to wear them down a little bit. They're running awful good. You just don't pull up and pass them. But the truck is real good, and we'll just have to see, you know, after it sets here, how the tires cycle, and you know, I think we can run with them as of right now, as long as they don't tear the tires up. But passing them could be a different situation.
Well, guys, all we need is just get a little light, and we can go racing again.
He's alluding, as these guys work on the light, that is the breaker box, and I guess you can't just reach in there and trip it like you do the one that always blows in my kitchen, but these are much bigger lights, obviously. He's alluding to what happened at Topeka when he talks about that, the progression that it would take for him to win the race, because there, Hornaday had an ignition box that went south, and then Sprague came up alongside, and that was where Sprague ran down through the grass and made what was perceived as an illegal pass, and then they determined it wasn't illegal, and Jack had so much conversation in his headset that he lost a position to Ruttman. This was all happening behind Sauter, who then ran out of gas. So that's how Ruttman won the race. So he figures if the same thing happens tonight, he'll win again.
There are the cars that are on the lead lap.
And the trucks, too.
The cars and trucks, yes. Thank you very much, David. Rick Corelli.
One for Marty, one for you.
That's right. There's Resendez, Tony Raines. Never see Mark Green's truck. And there's the Rich Bickle comes into the race leading the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series points. Chuck Bound is there. Stacy Compton. That must look Butch Miller, the 20 truck.
That should get us, I believe, through the trucks on the lead lap. And as my watch says that 5 minutes is up. Let's hope we're going to get this baby back underway shortly. Get in another commercial.
You coming straight to me? Okay. Well, we're back at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and you're looking through the front windscreen at Jack Sprague. I'm going to have to work around this window now. We can't take it down, but they pointed out upstairs that if the race ended right now and we don't have lights yet down in turn 2, you'd have a 15-point lead, but I have this feeling you'd still like to get this thing done and probably try and push your way up front.
Well, I really would. These guys are giving me a great truck in this Quaker State Chevrolet. I'm just a little bit tight in the middle, but I'm faster than the 16. I just can't get around them. And, you know, when I get back away from them and run, I run faster times than the leader. I believe if I was in the front, we could win it. But, you know, we still got the obstacles of having to pass them. So, heck, I don't care about the lights. We can race in the dark. Let's go.
Do you want me to go up and ask you to move over?
Nah, that's all right. He ain't going to move over anyway, but... Tell them I'll race with them lights out. I don't care about that so much. It's not so bad over there.
Yeah, you heard the crowd cheering in the background. I think they'd like to go racing with the lights out, too.
Hey, there we got some lights. We got lights.
Bring them on. They can hear the ESPN telecast on the PA here, which is kind of cool. It's been a lot of fun for us and, I guess, for those folks. I don't know where they came up with those lights, but... the guys who run the Saturday night short tracks, that's great lighting over there in turn 2. That's a lot better than the stuff they grew up and cut their teeth on. So.
Oh, yes, I've raced in many racetracks that's darker than that.
We mentioned the championship battle and the fact that that's going to tighten up significantly, or at least potentially here this evening, barring some miracle for Bickle. But the Cintas Rookie of the Year championship scrap continues to be a good one, too. Kenny Irwin on top of that, but look at Rick Crawford. He's within 8 after 4 top 10 finishes in the last half-dozen races, and Raines coming off that victory at I-70, just 30 back. Stacey Compton and Boris Said tied. I don't think you can find guys who come from different corners of the racing world than Compton and Said, and they end up dead even in 4th place in the championship standings, and Tammy Jo next in line, then Roper, who had trouble here tonight, Cook, Rizzo, and Rush rounding out your top 10. Good battle. Speaks to the fact that we've got so much young talent coming into this series, and it comes from everywhere.
And did you see that list? I mean, it's not 2 or 3. It was 10 or 12 truck drivers on that list. So, yes. And there we see Ron Hornaday. Is he shaking things out?
I want to take you back to last night, that Silver Crown race with Kenny Irwin. It was one of the most amazing things I've seen at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Here he is in the Black Deuce. This is in the non-qualifiers race. He had to start in the back because he didn't get a time trial. Here he tangles with Brian Tyler, so he's got to go to the back again. This thing's only 15 laps. He's got to get 5th or better, so he manages to make it to 4th, and that gets him into the tail end of the field for the feature. Then the car wouldn't start, so we had to start dead last in the main event. He's got all of these cars in front of him. Kenny Irwin Jr. goes to work, but Tony Stewart, this was beyond belief. He had lapped up through 3rd place and was in the process of lapping that guy. Here's Irwin. He goes into 3rd spot and needs a yellow. That's all he needs to get back in contention. Well, here it comes. There's the spin by Jay Drake, and bang, the leader, Tony Stewart, is out of there. Kenny Irwin Jr. inherits the lead and then holds off Mike Bliss and Dan Drynan to win the race. It is a USAC record. Previous deepest in the field, a winner who ever started was 28th. He broke that last night by starting dead last, 30th in the field. By the way, it was his own record that he broke. Kenny Irwin Jr., a hero last night. Tonight, well, let's get an opinion from him as we go to Marty.
Well, you got to feel pretty good. You just saw yourself win again last night, but the last 6 races, you've been averaging like 19th place. You've fallen. You still got the lead in the Cintas Rookie of the Year, but now, tonight, a good top 10 run going.
Yeah, truck's been running strong all night. I don't know if we're going to win tonight, but, you know, we're definitely in contention, and that's better than what we've been the last 4 or 5 races. You know, just for best of sport, we'll get it going.
I followed you around back and forth today between the Busch car, the truck, yesterday. Now you got tomorrow yet to go. Are you getting tired yet?
No, this is fun. I mean, I wish we could race like this all the time. This is what it's all about. I love it.
Well, we're going to get ready to go here, guys. I got to button him up.
He crashed the Busch car, by the way, in qualifying today. We'll have to make a second attempt to qualify that car tomorrow after the press conference. We'll take a break and be right back. For a 37-lap shootout, our coverage of the Cummins 200 tonight from Indianapolis Raceway Park, brought to you by Shell, moving at the speed of life. By Budweiser, the classic American lager. And by the new Dodge, it's about change. There has been no change at the front of this field. The Dodge that started on the pole has led every lap.
So
listen to the radio.
Guy up there, see if he gets some help. That's a Dodge. Stay beside them as much as you can till they get to the corner.
I heard you talking about the 18 truck. I guess they're talking about the lap trucks coming down on the inside.
Logic would tell you, with a reference to the Dodge, that they're hoping for some help here to keep Hornaday behind. They have not yet completed the forming up of the field for the restart.
They told me it's 18, but it's Butch. Okay, talk to him.
Butch Miller, former Dodge driver.
Keep looking.
He's talking, what the crew chief is talking to the spotter and telling him to see Butch's spotter up on the spotter stand and say, man, cut us some slack now. Don't get us hung on the outside.
There's Miller down on the bottom. First lap truck. And Hensley, who has survived, what would it be, 9 attempts by Hornaday to get around, will try to make it 10. Here we go.
And here comes Hornaday. He's trying it. No, he can't get there.
Hensley didn't need any help from that Chevrolet. Jimmy Hensley continues to hang on as Hornaday took yet another shot. That one was a little different. A dive straight to the bottom. And Mike Bliss is slowing way down here.
And whatever problem he had looks like it manifested itself. And truck mount almost spins out as he gets in contact with Bill Sedgwick. But Mike Bliss has fallen back to about 12th spot.
Remember that he was holding up that second group of trucks. He was sitting in 4th, but with a problem.
And now he just pulled off the racetrack. He's full, and he's going toward pit road as they go back to the lead.
Troubles continue in 1997 for Mike Bliss. Look out, you're going to get run over. There's the gap, first to second. Hornaday has been looking at that tailgate all night long as Bliss comes to pit road. Spent the entire evening in the top 5. He will not finish there. Let's go to Marty.
Oh, he has been looking for victory all season long. He has 2 second-place finishes. He's got a flat right front tire. He's just gone a lap down. Mike Bliss, this team can't buy a break. They have come so close to being in the victory. They're not going to do it tonight.
The heroics at the mid-race break, when they were able to get the fuel pump changed in the nick of time, all go for naught because Bliss is all the way at the back. Here come the top 3. Sprague made some sense out of that early issue. Here is Bickle, by the way, as he continues to try to move into the top 10. He is now 12th, having picked up a position as Bliss goes backwards. Sprague made a lot of sense out of that issue of whether you can pass the second-place guy. Could you pass the first-place guy? You can't place the second-place guy. He made the point that once he drops back, he's able to actually cut faster laps than the leader.
If he drops back and gets a good run, he is able to run faster than the leader. So, but again, passing, catching and passing, 2 entirely different things. We see Jimmy Hensley already moved out to about 5 truck length advantage over Ron Hornaday. You know, this is the 3rd year that the Craftsman Truck Series has been coming here to Indianapolis. We still have a pass for the lead.
Jimmy Hensley, 41 starts in the Truck Series, has not had a victory. He is going to do everything to ensure that there is not a pass for the lead here this evening. Can't pass the guy by being a little bit faster than him on this racetrack. You've got to be a fair bit faster. And so far, nobody's been faster than him. He's pulling away, by the way, from Hornaday. Hornaday gets that shot at him on the restart. Earlier, we surmised that a gearing difference probably accounted for that. But once they're green, Hensley's able to build an advantage about like that and then sit on it. And Sprague has not been able to find a way around Hornaday. Ruttman is the wild card here. He's passed 18 trucks to get where he is.
And there's the battle for the 5th position. Mike McLaughlin, Randy Tolzma. McLaughlin in the 53, Tolzma in the 61.
Tolzma
is so pumped up to be in this position, running in the top 10. That team has really struggled as he tries to make the transition from this racetrack, really, in the USAC open wheel division. A lot of other guys getting the headlines and enjoying the limelight of that tradition. For him, it's been a real struggle. Tonight, they get a bit of a payoff as they run top 10. Sixth spot. Here's Kenny Irwin, one of his old rivals on this racetrack, following him now in 7th. That's a good run for him, too, for what it's worth, because he started back in 18th position and alluded in that interview a few minutes ago to the difficulties that they've had. The press conference tomorrow morning, most of the world believe that Kenny Irwin Jr. will be named to drive the Robert Yates number 28, the car that will be on the pole for the Brickyard 400. That is a fair bit of responsibility, and you theorize that there might be a link between that whole business and the slump division.
Yeah, I think that when you lose your focus in anything, and let's face it, when Robert Yates is talking to you about driving your about driving his NASCAR Winter Cup car, you lose focus about driving a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. I mean, there's just no way, and the middle part of auto racing is so important. It's hard to measure, but trust me, when something happens to the driver, the crew chief's mind, these vehicles, cars, trucks, have a way of slowing down about 0.3 seconds per lap.
And it can work the other way when you show up in the Cummins Dodge for the Cummins 200.
Yeah, maybe you get a little adrenaline. Exactly. That's one reason Jimmy Hensley's running so good tonight, because the adrenaline is pumping as hard as it's been pumping all year.
We haven't talked much about Corelli tonight, but as you can see, the red and white number 6 Chevrolet is in 8th spot. Having come all the way from 23rd. It's a good run for him.
I see Remax on the car, and I know Davey Leonard is the guy that owns Remax, and I see the golfers are going to be out in Denver this weekend to visit him at his home in Castle Rock.
Pretty part of the country. Traffic will again become an issue for the leader, Jimmy Hensley. He had pretty good success in dealing with it the first go-around. There's Kerry Cook going a lap down, another lap down. Hensley pulling away from the man with whom you ride now, Hornaday, the defending series champ, and the man who would be champion. Pick a nickname. One Track Jack, Big Track Jack, one Black Jack. Right now it's a frustrated Jack Sprague.
They had just a little bit more trouble getting by Terry Cook than did Jimmy Hensley. And Bickle and the 99. He's about to lose a spot. I don't know. The 99 is trying to take this spot away. I'll put it that way.
Now got that right front a bit beat up early on, you may recall, from a bit of contact. Nothing like what we nearly saw right there with Bickle. Bickle is in 12th spot. That makes it a virtual dead heat for the championship if they would drop the checkered flag right now. Sprague and Bickle.
Winding down, 19 laps to go.
37 truck of Mark Green, Jeff and David Middle brothers. Doing a very good job. The Red Man truck here, getting a lot of experience.
Tony Raines for that spot. Got a good run on him. And he will take that spot away. Rich Bickle says, let me do that. He's not able to capitalize on the move of Mark Green. And you're right, Mark Green, that Red Man truck, has done a very, very good job tonight. And we see Tony Raines lose another spot, or about to Rich Bickle.
Big push going into the corner. Bickle says, I'll take advantage of that. Every position on the racetrack, when you get in that range in the finish order, is worth 5 points.
Tony Raines trying to fight back. He can't do it.
Give me a spot. Bound. Get off my tailgate. Man, look at Cook coming back around the outside.
And there we see the 86.
This is great.
No, they're trying to do 3 abreast. Oh.
Can't pass on this racetrack.
Oh, the 19 truck hung on behind the floor car, and Stacy Compton's trying to keep him there.
Good stuff. Some of the best racing we've seen all night back here at the tail end of the top 10. We'll put you right in the middle of it here with the ASA point leader, Lewinsky.
Tony Raines is really struggling down that 19 Pinball truck.
We missed qualifying today. We'll have the re-air for you coming up next. Brickyard 400. Skinner, a huge story. Clobbered the wall yesterday, knocked the back end off the front, scrambled barely got ready for qualifying today. Put it 6th in the field.
No, don't tell them that.
Oh, I forgot. Forget it. Never mind. You don't know where he qualified. He crashed yesterday. Tune in and see what happened today.
We'll even show you that. His crash, I mean.
It really was an exciting, emotional, interesting day. You put the kind of money that they raised for the Brickyard on the line, and it gets emotional, but there were just some great stories there. You'll see every year, immediately after the conclusion of this race, which will not be long. We're 13 from the end. Here's Crawford in 17th spot. Had a great qualifying position. Slapped the car into the wall on the very first lap. And battled back valiantly ever since.
Boy, Rain really, really struggling now in the 19th truck as he loses yet another spot. He's back down 17th position. And there is the first four. The red and white truck is the leader. That's Jimmy Hensley, the Cummins Dodge.
You can almost hear that Virginia accent. That's no more yellow. No more yellow. Please let this thing be over.
Ron Hornaday, the 16, is in the second spot. There's Jack Sprague, the green 24 is third. And there's Joe Ruttman, number 80, is fourth place truck.
Yeah, Ruttman called that. He indicated he didn't think he was going to have something to pass these guys. He could run as fast as they could. He could get around.
The signal was given by Chris Morgan. 10 laps. 10 laps to go. That's all.
We're running long. We're going to stay with it to the end and then go immediately to the re-air of the Brickyard 400 qualifying.
Right now, there's some pretty good traffic in front of Jimmy Hensley. He's going to catch him, I think, before the checkered flag, and it might play into Hornaday's hands. We'll see. There's three slower trucks. Mike Cliff, one of them, Kevin Harvick, and Mike Wallace.
Hornaday is one of the masters of traffic that has helped him in his efforts to win 4 of the last 6 races. But tonight, Hensley has been as good as anybody in traffic. Look at this side by side, all the way around and back down to start finish with Compton on the inside, Bound on the outside, and Zawinski right there taking it all in.
Oh, they both spin.
Careful, boys.
Well, Stacy spins.
That yellow.
Oh, some heavy contact. Caution flag is out.
And that got Refner right at the tail end of it, too.
And the 19 of Tony.
Oh, don't drive down through there.
Tony Raines has a right front tire flat, but I think he was in a different wreck.
Just when you thought that Raines' world could not get a whole lot worse in the final 10 laps, it did. He fell from 10th to 17th and then got involved in a wreck.
Wow. How's the right front tire go flat? Oh, Jimmy Henson said, no, man, no.
You can read his lips. I don't need this. All right, you can almost see this coming. It's a tough place to run side by side.
Come off the corner, that's Ford, no problem, but yet now they try to go in one together. Chuck comes down a little bit to try to protect that spot. Stacy Compton tries to stay there. They make contact. Tell you what, Stacy Compton had those wheels turned about 25 degrees, and he backs in the fence, and there comes, as you said, Brian Refter. Ooh, did the 14th truck run into Brian Refter?
May have been the tail end of it. Here's another look from another angle. Bound comes down, Stacy goes up, take your pick. You just can't get in there side by side. They both spin.
And there the 18 truck's going to, bam, hit the 86 in the front. They're both going to spin. Now the 86 is going to back up in the fence. Now I wonder if the 14 goes down and hits. No, he missed him. How did he do that?
With incredible skill and daring. This does not explain how Raines got the flat tire. He would have been behind all this, though, wouldn't he? He might have just run through.
Now he nailed the gas trying to get by. No, I didn't quite make it. And that in-car onboard camera shot we saw just a moment ago was, in fact, Kevin Zawinski, not Jimmy Hensley we saw just a moment ago.
Here is Stacy Compton, one of the contenders for Cintas Rookie of the Year, and the remains of his F-150. 5 laps to go. We will not finish under yellow. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series always ends under green. If need be, they do the green-white checker thing to ensure a race to the finish. There you see Raines in the background as they tend to the Dodge. And here is the Dodge that we have watched at the front of this field all night long. Hensley said, well, you know, I've held Hornaday off 10 times tonight. I ought to be able to make it 11.
Richard Petty, how many times has he been in this situation in his lifetime? Several.
Thinking about it, isn't he?
Yeah. I wonder what, let's see, can I think back about something that I might be able to tell Jimmy that would help him out? Nah, probably not.
And Jimmy probably done this as many times as I have. I'll just sit here and hope we win.
See Jimmy going back and forth, swerving that Dodge, trying to wipe whatever debris, whatever crumbs might be on those tires. So when he goes down in turn 1, he wants those tires to grip, be free of debris.
Brickyard weekend is huge. Second round qualifying coming up at 2 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. Then RPM tonight, covering not only the Brickyard stuff, although they are headquartered here for the week, but the entire world of racing at 7 p.m. as we said. And then before they go green, that's the 1-hour Friday night special. Meanwhile, at this racetrack, Speed Week will be live from IRP at 8:30, and then the Busch Series Kroger 200 following. Also live at 9 o'clock, 16th running thereof. Saturday, we crank it up with RPM today at 11:30 in the morning, and then the Brickyard 400 on the grid. The 1-hour pre-race show starts at noon Eastern, followed by the race itself at 1 o'clock on ABC. It is a huge phenomenon. If you've never seen a race in Indianapolis, you definitely owe it to yourself to come see the Brickyard 400. And in the meantime, of course, you'll have the opportunity to see it on ABC. And speaking of seeing it, I'm going to pretend I didn't see that.
Me too.
All right. Come down to this. Jimmy Hensley, his Dodge counterpart, who was such a hero at I-70 Speedway back midway through the first half of the season, Tony Raines. I can't imagine the frustration that he's feeling right now.
I can't either. It's almost like he brushed the wall and broke a brake rotor just almost the same way that the 3 truck did.
Compton looks to be in pretty good shape. They've affected all the circuit clears on that thing. He's basically just trying to log laps here, and I don't know if they're going to let him continue in that kind of shape. He's going to have to batten down a few more of the hatches. But again, he's in that battle for Rookie of the Year, so they want to get every lap they can.
And the 18 truck is parked here on the front stretch. I don't know exactly. I guess he pits
before they open.
Yeah. He went to pits before the pit road was open, so they decided to hold him till the field goes by.
Again, if you miss qualifying for the Brickyard 400, you'll see it in its entirety immediately following the checkered flag here. We're going to stay with this thing to the finish. We typically would not have anticipated that this race would run 2.5 hours. We had a more than adequate time slot until Sammy Kirby knocked the fence down on the back stretch and the lights went out. So, one away from green. Here's how they line up. Hensley and Hornaday, your front row of run 1, 2 from the get-go. Sprague and Ruttman. Ruttman having come from the 22nd spot. McLaughlin from 11th to top 5. Tolsma has held on to what he got in qualifying. Irwin charging all evening from 18th to 7th. Corelli also going forward very impressively. On back through the field, the drivers who are 1 or more laps down. But the entire focus right now is on the 2 guys at the front of the field. Jimmy Hensley will try to hold off one more assault from Ron Hornaday. Hornaday moving up alongside, just in case Jimmy had any doubt, reminding him that he was there and ready.
We completed 199 laps, but this race will end on green, white, checker. That's correct, right?
That's my understanding. It'll be 200 complete when they come by this time.
And it will be green, white, checker, I'm told in my ear. And I tell you what, there's some oil dry over in turn 2, high on the racetrack, right where the groove is. This is going to be, there we see, look at that oil dry where the cars will be running.
Jack Sprague thinks this will be perfect. They'll run down in there. Hornaday will get into Hensley. Elbows rest. I'll win, and I'll lead the points. Here goes Raines back out with his 1-lap shootout. We're going to stay with it to the checker. Won't have the opportunity to do the winter interview, but you'll be able to catch that on RPM tonight. Hensley's on the gas. Here we go to decide it all at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Hornaday drives on the outside. He has the position. He tried this once before, and it didn't work. Hensley crowds him up high. Unbelievable. Hornaday almost win it. There is Sprague tucking in front of the Dodge. It seems to be at full power. Here comes Rutman, and third and fourth will be decided at the wire. Hensley held on to it. Rutman settles for fourth. What an amazing finish. What a performance by Hornaday.
He just sat back there. He sat back there. And guess what? We've had a lead change at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
And with that victory, Ron Hornaday has tied Mike Skinner for career victories. Let's go quickly to Marty.
As usual, he's awesome on the restarts. That was our only chance to beat Jimmy, and he pulled it off.
This is Fred. Great Fred. This is 2 races in a row. It's come down to a last lap shootout.
Well, that's where Ron shines the best, and he did it again tonight. I just can't believe it.
6 victories now, guys. Remember, Skinner holds the record with 8 in a season.
Hornaday right back in the thick of the championship battle. Let's have one more look at it here as it was decided on the next to last lap at IRP.
I think that oil dry in turn 2 got Jimmy Hensley going low in that corner. I don't think he wanted to drive through that oil dry. Hornaday said, that's my only shot. He drove up there, and the truck stuck.
Hornaday tested that pass earlier in the race on about the 3rd restart, and it didn't work. But when all the marbles were there to be had, he made it work to perfection. Around the outside he goes, and Ron Hornaday ties Mike Skinner on the all-time win list. Real quick, Marty.
Hey, don't even try and get out. Just stay in the truck. All right, he's going to... Here he comes. Ronnie, quick, come on down here. We're running out of time. How did you get around him on that last lap?
I'm going to say an awesome Chevrolet truck. Snap brakes, everybody's been awesome. He's been blocking the bottom. I had to go to the outside, Del Teresa. Well, I hope you guys can do it tomorrow or Saturday. But Jimmy's been blocking the bottom. We had to go to the highway, took the Chevrolet and see what we could do with it. But this thing's been tough all day, you know, like a rock.
Win number 6, guys.
Great job down there, Marty Reed. Our thanks for your coverage on Pit Road. Coming up next, Brickyard 400 qualifying. I'm Dave Destain for Benny Parsons saying, hey, we had a pretty exciting little truck race tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. We're back tomorrow night for all the Busch activity here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, where Ron Hornaday has claimed the 1997 running of the Cummins 200. Terrific frustration on the part of Jimmy Hensley, but here is the joy of victory. Tell you what, that championship looks like it's right there, Benny.
Yes, it really is. Rich Bickle will finish 10th tonight, so it's going to be almost a tie between he and Jack Sprague in the 24.
Thank you all for being here, and so long from Indianapolis Raceway Park.